In the morning when I'm driving, I really come alive when I listen to my Ronnie, I listen to my Ronnie Q. They are rare and they are few who can compare with Ronnie Q. So grab a chair, she's coming through. She's on the air, it's time for Ronnie Q. They are rare and they are few who can compare with Ronnie Q. So grab a chair, she's coming through. She's on the air, it's time for Ronnie Q. Ronnie Q. It's time for Ronnie Q. Ronnie Q. It's time for Ronnie. In the morning while I'm driving, Ronnie, I really come alive when it's time for Ronnie. I listen to my Ronnie, Ronnie. I listen to my Ronnie. It's time for Ronnie Q. Take a seat and go meet Ronnie. Sweet, 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 sweet Ronnie. No day complete without my Ronnie. She can't be beat. Sweet, sweet Ronnie.
Grand Rising. Thank you for being here. Please hit the like button on your way in. Good morning, Miss LA. How are you? Thank you for being here. Okay. Hey, Yatanya. Thank you for being here. I don't know if I want to leave this for the end. I'm gonna address some screenshots that I had seen. Okay, sir, sir with the wig, you seem quite interested in getting Ronnie Q's information. You better make sure you do the right thing if you ever get my information. If I ever hear you on YouTube talking my information, see, I don't fight men, sir. I don't fight men. See, men fight men. You understand what I'm saying, sir, with the wig? I suggest you go sit your ass down somewhere. I don't have anything to discuss about your disgusting back alley dick sucking ass. So I would really suggest that you go sit the whole fuck down somewhere. Because if I hear any information about me coming out, your motherfucking grandparents would know that you back alley dick sucking and fucking selling peen and shit. You may want to look up, you may want to dox how to not be a do bitch. So you won't be on here crying and shit. But why don't you dox how to not be a do boy bitch? A run through motherfucker. You can tell motherfuckers who are used to being run through. Motherfucker, I don't discuss you. I disgust you. I don't disgust you. So, motherfucker, I would suggest you go take your fucking gay ass somewhere and sit the whole entire fuck down, bitch. You don't want it over here. Nobody give a fuck about you. Motherfuckers so interested. What you not gonna find about Ronnie Hugh, motherfuckers? See, you motherfuckers, you can tell motherfuckers whose lives are so fucked up, they always trying to dock somebody. You ain't gonna find no motherfucking shit on me about being in jail for being a hoe, motherfucker. You ain't gonna find that about me. Why don't you doc how to get that shit off your motherfucking record, bitch? Bitch, I'm not embarrassed about my life. I have the right to my motherfucking privacy, you dumb bitches. You motherfuckers' lives are all fucked up, and all the information that we know about your fucked up life, you are the ones who put it on YouTube, bitch. I don't put my life on YouTube. What the fuck you gonna find about? You gonna find something that goes against what I told you about me? I ain't told you shit about me, bitches. Don't get mad because you motherfuckers throw all of your motherfucking life and business out here on YouTube. I ain't told you shit. You gonna find something like you found on 7 Stars that I was rich and I lived in the valley and all of this shit. No, you ain't gonna find no shit about me because I ain't told you shit about me. Stupid motherfuckers. Hey, real K-Fit. Bitch, keep fucking around. Keep fucking around. That old grandma and grandpa of yours will be stroking the fuck out about the real information about you, bitch. Because you are not the only one who can dox, bitch. And when you dox, bitch, you may want to dox all the real information before you get fucked up in the game. All right. Hey, Jay Parrish. Hey, Max Boogie. Hey, Auntie Donna. Fucking hag crying ass, stupid ass bitch. Always, I don't, ugh, disgusting ass motherfucker. Oh, cream cheese off of uncut dick licking motherfucker. Better go sit his funky ass down somewhere. Who else did I miss? Miss Douglas, Bernice, Grand Rising, Max, Auntie Donna, Yatanya, Jay Parrish, Max Bookie. I got everybody. Jay Parrish, Sarah. How you guys doing? What's going on? I got sick of this bullshit. Motherfuckers always doing dumb shit. Dumb bitches doing dumb shit with dumb niggas. Get the fuck out of here. Always on these motherfuckers' mind. Don't never discuss these motherfuckers, but I'm always on their motherfucking minds. I'm over here doing my motherfucking giving some real information while these motherfuckers out here hating. Go sit the fuck down somewhere. Don't nobody give a fuck about you, bitches. You don't give a fuck about your goddamn selves. What's new? That ran across my desk, as they say. What ran across my desk? Hating motherfuckers trying to find out information. I need her. I'm a troll, bitch. Huh? I'm a troll with a whole motherfucking channel, bitch. I think you were the motherfucking troll. I think you are the troll with them fake ass tears. Bitch, nobody give a fuck about your tears because you was fucking slithering in a fucking snake pit. What you thought you wasn't gonna get, bitch, you dumb motherfucker? You thought you could slither your ass around and not get bit? Bitch, don't nobody feel pity for you, bitch. We're laughing at you. That you actually thought that you could go around and get walk around here unscathed, bitch. And you talking about me, you stupid bitch. No, I take that back. He wish he was a big. He wish he was a bitch. I take that back. You stupid bastard. And you take your ass over there on Lipstick Alley. Don't nobody see that shit you write on Lipstick Alley, bitch. You know everybody in damn near everybody on Lipstick Alley got your ass blocked. Ain't nobody playing with you on Lipstick Alley. You don't never say that though. You come out here like you so connected and you Lipstick Alley, this, that, and the other. Motherfucker, the only reason you were on Lipstick Alley probably was to chase down what Ronnie Q got to say, you stupid bitch. But you can't see anything that Ronnie Q say. And 98% of the motherfuckers on Lipstick Alley, because they have you blocked, bitch. You a DJ, you a reject and a deject over on Lipstick Alley too. Dox me, bitch. Dox me. What you not gonna find is that my mama sent me to school funky and dirty. What you not gonna find is I had a mama who is in the class of uppity Negro goddess that didn't give a fuck about me, so sent me to school funky and dirty, bitch. It ain't my fault that you grew up with somebody who didn't love you, who threw you off on your grandparents, bitch. That ain't my story, ho. My mother took good care of me, bitch. No wonder you like random cum rubbed all over you. No wonder you fucking sticking your dick in glory holes because you used to being a dirty bitch. Grand Rising Miss 313. Hey, Lexi Lex. Good morning to you. I hope you're having a great day. Please like and subscribe and share. The actual audacity. This motherfucker acting like somebody gives a fuck about him on LSA. Nigga gave LSA a bad reputation. He over there trying to dox. He over there mad because they didn't put my camera slip up. They put yours up though. They put your camera slip up though. With that shaved head, they put yours up. So what they tell you about yourself? Don't nobody like you. Nobody like you. And the motherfuckers who act like they like you are just using you. Get yourself together, you drunk ass motherfucker. Fucking lush. Nigga, ain't nobody gonna have to like you too many more days because you probably pissing blood because you always up here drunk, bitch. That liver probably 98% gone. You fucking degenerate. Hey, Stomp Down. Thank you for the super sticker. I appreciate you. I guess you learned something today, huh, Stomp Down? Motherfucker sitting up with a wig on, a motherfucking 5 o'clock shadow is thicker than the wig that he has on his head. Who wears a Rick James wig? Motherfucker always wants somebody to fight for him. Always want his friends on YouTube to fight for them, and they always leaving your ass out to dry. And you talking about Ronnie Q, you dumb bitch? Are you serious? The fuck out of my face. All right, hold on. Your friends are the ones who fucking you, nigga. I hope they paying you the $5 to $7 after they get finished fucking you like you accustomed to getting when you fucking them strangers out on the street. Tell them that they to run you your money. Bitch, I gotta teach you how to be the hoe that you are. I hope that they paid you your customary $5 to $7, you dumb motherfucker. Get your money up front, stupid. Hey, Miss Queenie, how are you? Thank you for the sticker, Stomp Down. Okay, so let me, hold on. What's good, people? Y'all just speaking. Okay. So I guess I'm not gonna save that to the end of the show. Hey, did you guys I don't know. When I be getting my show together, I go over there and I watch QB. Did you guys watch QB last night? It was quite interesting. Um, Let me see if there's anything else that I watch. I am really getting into. I am really getting into Demetrius trial watches. Excuse me. I got something somebody sent me. I want to share with you guys. Oh my God. Okay, hold on. Let me share this with you guys. Okay. Kids. Kids. Doom, 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 doom. How many of you have them? Kids. Okay, let me show you this kid. I can't believe. I can't believe somebody sent me this. Y'all know I love the dogs. Y'all do know I love the dogs. I feel so sorry for this dog. These badass kids. How dare they? How dare they? Is that limp dimp? Is that what limp dimp be getting done? Oh, oh, oh. Lord. Okay. I share that with you guys. I didn't look it up. Somebody sent that to me. Good morning, Madison. Yes. I think you're saying yes, you watch QB. Oh, no singing. It's Thursday. Let me go. Bye. Hey, Jill. Hey, Baron. How are you? Good morning, Ron P. Good to see you. It's singing every day. Life is about singing, Jill. Poor dog. I know. Poor dog. It's like, what is this button for? That was not a button, kid. Okay. So let me see if there's anything else that I want to touch on. I think that's it. So it is Black History Month, and of course, I always have a profile of somebody. You remember me telling you about the Super Soaker? Do you guys remember me talking about the Super Soaker gun? Well, play plague toy. Y'all remember me talking about the Super Soaker? And it was invented by a black man, and I think Mattel was the company that he's actually an engineer, and I think it was Mattel that stole. They needed the patent that made the water really gush out like that, so they paid him for one gun, super soaker super soaker gun, but they kept remaking it and remaking it in different styles and all that type of stuff, and he got nothing until he sued them. Y'all remember? Thank you, Miss 313. Yes, Ron, super soaker. So I'm gonna share this with you guys. A moment in Black history. Here we go. You know, we gonna remember our great people. And this guy, Granville T. Woods, if you didn't watch yesterday, he was the man who invented the roller coaster. I had no idea when I first found that out. I was like, my goodness, so many bright minds in Black history. Unfortunately, so many silly minds in current history, but I digress. Let's go.
Between moving trains, telephone transmitter, railway system, subway system, roller coaster, and many more. Lonnie Johnson, the man who created the Super Soaker water gun, was awarded $73 million in unpaid royalties from giant toy maker Hasbro. Johnson, who founded the Atlanta-based company behind the Super Soaker, filed a lawsuit against Hasbro for underpaid royalties in the sales of the widely popular water gun, according to the AJC.com. Garrett Morgan invented a safety hood you put over your head to avoid inhaling smoke at standing height.
The gas mask.
Jesse Eugene Russell, inventor of the digital cell phone. Paul L. Downing, little known Black history fact. This man is named Paul L. Downing. He invented what every household uses today, the mailbox. Downing patented his mailbox on October 27, 1891, and called his invention a street letterbox. 1 year prior to inventing the mailbox, Downing patented an electrical switch that allowed railroad workers to turn on or off the power supply to trains at the necessary times. Downing's design for the railroad switch were used as inspiration for inventors who created residential electrical switches. The street letter drop mailbox with a hinged door that closed to protect the mail was invented by Philip B. Downing. Downing, an African-American inventor, patented his new device on October 27, 1891. Marie Van Britten Brown.
Okay, I'm going to do one more.
Was an American inventor. She was the inventor of the home security system in 1966, along with her husband.
See, y'all wouldn't have Siri without her. Look at all the things that we invented. And they try to act as if they have to dummy down things for us. For us. Let's continue.
Albert Brown. In the same year, they jointly applied for a patent, which was granted in 1969. The invention was basically the first closed-circuit television security system and is predecessor to the modern home systems today. It led to the foundation for video monitoring, remote-control door locks, push-button alarm triggers, instant messaging to security providers and police, as well as two-way voice communication. The fame of Brown's device also led to the more prevalent CCTV surveillance in public areas, according to a 2016 New Scientist report. 100 million concealed closed-circuit cameras are now in operation worldwide. Edmund Berger. In 1830,
a black man invented the spark plug. Now we know that what's his name? Ford invented the Model T Ford. Did he get a cut? Because that was a crank-up car, so it probably didn't use spark plugs. One more. Let's see this man who invented the spark plug.
13. Inventor Edmund Berger invented the spark plug. Although the internal combustion engine, in which the current version of the spark plug is used, was only in the developmental stages in the mid-1800s. Mr. Berger is still given the credit for the invention even without obtaining a patent.
Well, it's a wonder because they are always usually stealing the patents from the black people, and they wind up penniless in their death. But that is some facts in Black history. Let me see. So, did you guys take the quiz? I'm about to close the quiz because I want to see what you guys said about the quiz. Okay. Yes, we invented almost everything. Everything that we still use today. The black man invented the refrigerated car. You mean the train cars? And they also invented the refrigerator, because remember they used to call them an ice box because they actually had to put one of those big blocks of ice in there to keep the food cool. That's why they called them ice boxes. Refrigerators, yeah, because you used to have to put a big block of ice in there. Remember, people used to have the blocks of ice delivered to their houses. They had a chute that went inside the house, like a chute from the outside to the inside, that they would drop that big ass block of ice down. Yeah, I was um I was watching the different areas in I think it was in Detroit, uh where a lot of those big huge houses have gone in disrepair and all this type of stuff, and people were buying them up and remodeling them, and I say 9 out of 10 of them still had the ice hole where they used to drop the ice. Some of them had the coal chute where they used to drop the coal in the basements and stuff. So yeah, they kind to me. And they invented the electric clothes dryer, the refrigerant that goes into the refrigerator to make it a refrigerator as opposed to an ice box, the ironing board, the folding chair, uh, just what else? Things that we just use every day that we don't realize. Ronnie Q, can you share the link? I want to share this. Let me find the link again. I apologize. I didn't see that comment. I'll share that link. Okay, here's the link. Now, not only did the black man invent the current cell phone, look, when I went to find the link, the black man invented that brick cell phone as well. Remember, the cell phone used to be that big brick. So the black man was about inventing those cell phones. Here's the post. Here's the link for that. Niggas invent everything except modern day motherfucking bit. Yeah, including you. You invented that. You hear my husband talking about niggas invented everything except minding their motherfucking business. Okay, so here's the link for that. Okay, I bought one of the historic neighborhoods. I bought one. I think you mean you bought a house in the historic neighborhoods in Detroit, and I have a milkman shoe and an ice shoe. I would as well. Yeah, Miss 313. I was watching. I be watching different things and stuff. Uh, I think, but I don't even know what happened to this chick. But I used to like to watch her create stuff, but she used to really get on my nerves because she was going in and she would always get the property at these cheap prices. And I think, what was the name of her show? But and she was the one who got me going on YouTube watching different house 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 shows and about Detroit properties and stuff. But little she was a real small white blonde lady, and then at the end of her last season, she got pregnant, but she didn't say much about being pregnant. She didn't announce being pregnant, and I don't know if she was a surrogate or what. There was a story about the truth behind. I think her name was Michelle or something. Michelle's pregnancy. I didn't read it or whatever. I thought it was just a regular pregnancy, but it was some. I don't know. Maybe she was a surrogate for somebody or something. I don't know. Yeah, but that's man, some of those houses in Detroit. Oh my goodness. So she would go into the houses and redo them and resell them and make about $200,000 off a house that she bought from the city for less than $1,000 and all that type of stuff. So that's what used to get on my nerves because I didn't like the fact that real people couldn't get those deals. You know, that's what I didn't like about it, but you know. I was typing and talking. I bought my house in one of the historic neighborhoods, and my house has the milk chute and the ice delivery chute on it. Yeah. So, yeah, I've seen those houses in Detroit with that. So, and people think that it's rare to find a house with a laundry. That was something in the 70s, the laundry chute. We didn't have a laundry chute in our house, but my best friend, they had a laundry chute in their house, and their laundry chute used to always get clogged up. The clothes be get stuck down somewhere in the middle, and it'd be a pile up. So that's what I remember of the laundry chutes. Hold on one second. I just broke my nails. So y'all done taking the test? I mean the poll. I had to cut my fingernail. Oh God, it cut off in the skin. I hate that. Uh, you have to go through the land bank, and black people barely get the homes that are $1,000. What do you mean they barely get those ones? Some of those ones, in the little neighborhoods and stuff. But those houses that are in certain little neighborhoods and stuff that they were selling for $1 and all that stuff. Oh, and there is a it's a gay couple, and they buying the block. Have you guys seen that show on HGTV? So I think that, yeah, they were in Detroit too, and they bought on a suburban block, and they bought as many houses on the block that they could, and they would buy one, and then they would fix it up, and then they buy another one, and then they fix it up, and pretty soon the whole block, because it still had people actually living on the block, and I like their show. I really like their show because they then turned around and sold them to people, and man, oh, the designs and stuff that they would do in these houses were one of a kind. I mean, those houses are beautiful, from the different paint colors that they would use, and the actual designs and things that they would put in the house. If you haven't seen, I think it was Buying the Block, you got to check that out. That's on HGTV. My mother house has a laundry chute. Yeah. So what is it? I think it's Buying the Block. Let me see. I'm right here on the computer. Let me see. Buying Back the Block. That's the name of the show. Check that out. Let me Let me see if I can show you a little preview. Let me see if I can show you a little preview. Okay. Let me see. You guys ought to check this out. Hold on. Let me get past the commercial. Okay. I am using this in fair use as a part of news reporting and education. Let me put up my banner because I'm just going to show you the beginning of what the house looked like, and then I'm going to show you the end of what the house looked like. Okay. If you guys haven't seen this show, check it out. Hold on. Is this it? Hold on, let me see if this is it. Yeah, that's it. Okay. Here we go. I had to find the name of the actual video. Oh, here it is, right here. Let me share my screen with you. Let me remove my overlay. Okay. Here we go. Y'all see this house, right? Okay, so you guys saw what it was, and let's see what they turned it into. Let me see. Now, let's see what they turned it into.
Lots of different shapes too.
Like these little things, they make those little things that that frame around that mirror, whatever that black thing was on that wall. It's like those things that they make that I really get geeked about too. I'm about to say, I wouldn't be surprised if they made that black thing on the wall. So recycled paint mixed with charcoal. Simple stuff.
Your father knows about saving money. Everything.
Commercial. Okay. Let me see what you guys are saying. Good morning, Bush baby. I love shows like this. I'm too scared to walk through those homes. Hey, didn't that look like you have when you looked at that before? It was like it's nothing I could do with that, and they want $6,800 for that house. Look at it now, but what was their budget? $85,000. And let's see how much they. So they all in for 91,000. So that's their all-in price. The sale for the house, and I don't know if they use. I don't know if they use the whole 85,000. We're gonna get the run up at the end. Yeah, see, they do stuff like this. That if you haven't watched this, their little design ideas are
living up.
top tier. This house is about renewability. So that's why they, that's the theme of this house. Okay. So here's the link. If you guys want to go over there and check that out. Here you go.
Hello, everyone. This is Joe Kudla, founder and CEO of Viori. And today I'm going to walk you through.
Okay. They have a lot of shows. That one was kind of limited because they did the theme of it being a sustainable house, sustainability. So yeah, so they have a lot more that they do. So go over and check out the series. Yes, it's a series. I like their work. Okay, so I dropped the link for that. Okay, let me close the poll. Oh, I didn't drop it. Jill's comfort zone. You saw a way that you can profile your garden, right there in your kitchen too. You saw how they were growing their little vegetable, not vegetable, their little herb garden on the wall. Yeah, no, it's a little bit of something in there for everybody. So, what do you guys want to talk about today? Let me close my poll. They have finally finished the filibuster. Oh, did they? Wait a minute. Hold on. Hold on. Let me do something. Oh, okay. Let me end the poll. Did you watch any of the filibuster on Voight? Ronnie Hugh, please speak English, 31%. Of course I did, 31%. What is a filibuster? 18%. What is a Voight? 18%. So did I get wait a minute. Hold on. So when I came to the poll, it said stream is no longer okay. We're back. How long have I been gone? How long have I been gone? How dare HGTV take me off? Gotta be careful playing those videos. Oh no. Uh-oh. How long was I gone? I didn't even realize I was gone until I came back for the poll. Can you tell me? 3 minutes. We back. 20 seconds. Okay. So I dropped your link only a couple of minutes. Oh my God. Okay. So the it wasn't that long. All I did was refresh because when I went to close the poll, it says stream no longer available. So I thought that I hit the filibuster stream. Um, so it seems like a few of you, 31% of you guys watched it. 31% of you guys says, Ronnie, speak English, please. 18% says, what is a filibuster? And 18% of you guys says, what is a void? Okay. So Russell Vought is the one that they want over the offices of management and budget for the United States. And that is the person who decides which agencies are going to be cut. But you guys notice that a lot of agencies have already been cut. When that what was it? a freeze on all federal funds was put out. That came from the Office of Management and Budget. Thank you. You learned something today. Thank you, Jill. I appreciate this super sticker. Thank goodness. Yes, Office of Management and Budget. So when we discussed this already. When that freeze came out, that's the department that the letter actually came from. Uh, Russell Vought is the nominee for that department. But as you see, when the letter came out about the freeze, it came from the Office of Management and Budget, but it was from a person named Matthew J. Vought, the acting director of Office of Management and Budget. So this is the actual notice that they put out. But Russell Vought, he is nominated to be the head of the of Office of Management. What is it? Office of Management and Budget. But why isn't Vought's name on it? Because Vought hadn't been confirmed. So they were making this decision that comes out of that office via the acting person. And then they rescinded the whole memo. We remember that. And then the press secretary came out and said, well, the memo was rescinded, but everything that the memo said is still in effect. So why did Matthew J. Vought, acting director, send out a rescinding memo about the original memo that said that all federal funding would be halted because they don't know, they don't care, or what's going on, what they're doing, any of these things. So this is Russell Vought. As you see here, status. This is Russell Vought. Status. They finished the confirmation hearings on him, not yet voted on. Data vote to be determined. Vote tally to be determined. So they did all of this, and they didn't actually have a director. He went through the confirmation hearings. You guys may remember. Let me see. I think I may have it up here. Let me see. I may have it up here. I think I do have it up here. Hold on. Nope. Let me show you a little piece of his confirmation hearing. Let me just show you this one right here. Okay. Here we go. You guys, if you watch my program, this is his confirmation hearing when they're asking him different questions to actually get the job. Let me share my screen. Okay, let's get into this.
Mr. Vought, and your willingness to come back. Thank you also to your family. As you know, in the closing days of the last session, the United States Congress, by overwhelming majorities, approved disaster relief funding going to the Department of Agriculture, as well as FEMA, for disaster relief all around the country. Will you commit to releasing those funds promptly and fully to the areas that depend on that disaster relief funding?
We will continue to release the money that's appropriately been funded for these areas, as we always have.
Okay. So he said that's been appropriately. That he's not the he's the one who releases the funds. He's not the one who determines what's appropriate. Congress is the one who allocate the funds, and then it goes to the Office of Management and Budget. But you hear the caveat that he put. You got to really listen to how this dude talk. He said, "What is appropriately?" Okay, let's continue.
With regard to the FEMA dollars.
So the answer is yes.
Yes, we will continue to do what we did in the first
You won't
term.
continue because you're not yet in office. You will release that money fully and promptly to the agencies that can provide that relief. For example, the $31 billion, I believe it is, for the Army Corps and the Agriculture Department, the $2.2 billion for the Small Business Administration, $29 billion for FEMA. These are specific amounts. How about the $3.8 billion left for security assistance to Ukraine? Will you release that money?
Again, Senator, I'm not going to get ahead of the policy process of the incoming administration, but when it comes to
I'm not going to get ahead of the policy process of the incoming administration. That has absolutely nothing to do with releasing. The incoming administration and their policy practices don't have anything to do with releasing funds that Congress has set aside for what he just asked you. Do you hear? Now, let's continue.
Responding to the disasters, the president has always been someone that cares deeply about these areas and
Well,
getting them.
I'm talking about the Ukraine funding, which I believe is essential. The Congress believed it's vital. It's been authorized and appropriated. Will you release that remaining $3.8 billion?
Again, Senator, I'm not going to get ahead of the president on a foreign policy issue of the magnitude of the situation with.
It's not about what the president wants about a foreign policy issues. This was like, I don't even think, I don't know what date this was. I don't know if the inauguration had even happened. Let me see. When was this? What date? 3 weeks ago. So the inauguration may or may not have already happened, but these funds had already been approved via Congress. But he's saying that depending on what the president wants to do, that they may not release those funds. You get what I'm saying? So you also see that all of these agencies all around the country are being closed down. People are getting notices, don't come to work, and all of this type of stuff. So they did a filibuster about his vote. So they're supposed to be voting on this man today. And what a filibuster is that Congress will come and they will hold the floor open. They held the floor open all night, saying why that this man should not be voted in. And sometimes the filibuster, sometimes the other congressmen or senators will change their minds on it based upon what is being talked about this person or about this bill, or it could be a person, a bill, or whatever. So they did one last night about confirming him into the office that releases funds that Congress has allocated for different projects or whatever. So this is why they think that he is a problem.
Hey, let me ask you: Do you believe the Impoundment Control Act is constitutional?
No, I don't believe it's constitutional. The president ran on that view. That's his view, and I agree with.
Have you read Train versus New York? That's the United States Supreme Court saying it is constitutional. You're saying that you're going to just defy the courts, the Office of Legal Counsel under both administrations, including then Attorney Rehnquist, afterward becoming Supreme Court Justice, wrote for the Office of Legal Counsel. You are simply going to take the law into your own hands.
I did not say that, nor did I imply that on behalf of the incoming administration. I said earlier to a question from Senator Peters that the incoming administration is going to take the president's view on this, as he stated in the campaign.
They're going to take the president's view. He doesn't feel that the law is constitutional. And they're going to take the president's view on constitutional law. They're not going to follow the constitutional law. They're going to take the president's view on this constitutional law in when it comes to dispersing these funds. Did you hear this, fool? Okay.
Work it through with the lawyers of the Department of Justice, some of whom are coming before Congress just today, if confirmed, and to put that through a policy process. And I can't.
If confirmed, then they're going to put it through a policy process. No, that's not how any of this works. So you understand why they are trying to, after all this other stuff that has gone on with them letting Elon Musk come through and close different departments, all these people, jobs have been taken away. I hear that they have offered everyone in the CIA offer to quit their jobs and get some type of servants package of 6 to 8 months of pay. Every person in the CIA. Every. Okay, let's continue.
Prejudge that policy process, but I certainly can't announce the parameters of what it would produce.
I am astonished and aghast that someone in this responsible a position would, in effect, say that the president is above the law, and that the United States Supreme Court is entitled to their opinion, but mine should supersede it. It's just baffling that we are in this, I think, unprecedented moment in the history of this country. And I think our colleagues should be equally aghast, because this issue goes beyond Republican or Democrat. It's bigger than one administration or another. It's
now, when he said our colleagues should equally be aghast, he's looked over at these Republicans who have pushed through all of these crazy people and have don't give any pushback when they know this shit is crazy. So I dropped the link. That's let me see. It may be a little
whether the law of the land should prevail, or maybe it's up for grabs, depending on what the president thinks. I think it is fundamental, and I hope you will reconsider this view. And I'm going to put it in a question for the record to give you an opportunity to recast your answer, which I think should be disqualifying for both sides of the aisle, frankly, because what goes around comes around. The next administration could be Democratic, could be independent. But the Supreme Court in Train versus New York said it's constitutional. That's been the clear consensus. So let me move on. I'm the ranking member of the Veterans Affairs Committee. I'm concerned by your proposal that there should be a means test for who deserves Veterans Affairs disability compensation. For me, nothing's more important than caring for our veterans. I think that is true of many of us on both sides of the aisle. Do you believe that veterans should receive disability benefits only if they qualify under some kind of means test?
Senator, the president has been a firm supporter of veteran spending, of getting veterans everything that they need. That was always reflected in all of the budgets that the president sent to the Hill. And I fully expect—
I'm going to interrupt you with apologies because my time is running out. Do you believe there should be a means test for disability benefits going to veterans?
Again, I'm not going to speak to the—
So you're not going to answer that question, but you have in the past taken the position there should be a means test.
The president has always fully supported veteran spending and put forward everything that they need for that the Department of VA does, and I fully expect that to continue.
Do you believe that disability compensation benefits for veterans should be eliminated if any veteran has a disability rating below 30%?
Senator, I'm not here on behalf of what I think, but I'm here on behalf of the president.
That is the proposal from the Center for Renewing America, the organization that you founded. Do you continue to believe it?
It's a think tank that I currently am the president of. It is not the agenda of the incoming president of the United States. And so I'm here on behalf of being his nominee and doing his budget.
Is that what he believes?
Can anybody tell me where you heard policy that would be used in the next administration? So he has a think tank that says that veterans with up to 30% disability should not get their payments. We didn't hear policy coming from 45, 47. We heard a lot of insult, a lot of bullshit, a lot of cursing, a lot of dumb shit when he was on the campaign trail. Where did you hear any policy? Project 2025. That's where you heard policy. And this, who is Vought? Who you want to know who this Vought character really is? He is the co-author of Project 2025. And you hear him answering questions from senators about his him getting this job, and what he is saying. He will go against the Constitution.
Again, you should judge him by the budgets that he sent forward to Congress. And I am here on behalf of the fiscal responsibility that he wants to restore, and I fully intend to do that if confirmed.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
You know, as I said previously, I'm sympathetic.
Okay, so we're done with that. So let me see. Let me see what else I want to share with you. Okay. Is that it? Okay. This is the guy who decided that they should do a filibuster on this nomination, which all of the different I think they're senators come out and pontificate their reasonings for a bill or a nominee or against them. Let me share this with you guys right quick. So they actually filibustered this nominee, and they came out and they laid out their reasoning why they think that he is unfit for that office. Here it is. Thank you, Truth and Reason. Taking my blood pressure pills. I appreciate the super sticker. So I guess you guys are learning something. I said my super sticker are for if you learn something.
Seize power. Storm into the offices of an agency that
senators. Okay, here we go.
That they hate, and shut it down operationally. That's not our system of government. And that's why we're going to be fighting all night about this issue.
Democrats have been holding the floor on the U.S. Senate all day today. They started at 2:17 p.m. Eastern time. This is a live look at the Senate floor right now, where Virginia Senator Tim Kaine is taking his term at the podium. But it has been all day. They have not given up the floor. You heard Senator Brian Schatz of Hawaii say there at the top that they're going to be fighting all night about this issue. The issue, as they're defining it, is a guy named Russell Vought, who's Trump's nominee for White House budget director. Vought is the chief proponent of the theory that Donald Trump can essentially eliminate Congress's role in the U.S. government and defund anything they say to do on his own say-so, even though that's not how the U.S. government works. Well, tonight, Democrats are using the rules of the Senate. They're using the rights of the Senate minority to take up as much time as they humanly can to slow down Vought's nomination as much as they possibly can. The other point of what they're doing here, of course, is to draw the American people's attention to just how radical this nominee is and why he should not be confirmed, and why what he proposes as our new form of U.S. government would not be the democracy and the tripartite split system of government that makes us who we are. The first Democratic senator to announce he would really throw his body into the gears of the government like this was Senator Brian Schatz of Hawaii earlier this week. He said he would block all State Department nominations until Trump reversed his attack on U.S. humanitarian aid. Right now, individual other Senate Democrats have followed that strategy. Senator Chuck Schumer is suggesting to Democrats that they should be taking that strategy broadly with all Trump nominees. And tonight, holding the Senate floor, they're really taking this strategy, which Schatz first announced, and running with it as far as they possibly can. Joining us now from the Senate is Senator Brian Schatz, Democrat of Hawaii. Senator Schatz, I appreciate you stepping off the floor and being with us. I know it's been a long day and it's going to be a long night.
Thanks, Rachel, for covering this. I appreciate it.
Let me ask how you and your colleagues are holding up, and what ultimately you think will be the result of holding this floor all evening tonight.
Well, we're fine. There's going to be 37 of us talking. We will not relinquish the floor for 30 hours until the final vote on Mr. Russ Vought. And you said it exactly right. Russ Vought is an unusual Office of Management and Budget nominee. This is a job you shouldn't know the name of the person running the OMB, but he's actually one of the authors of Project 2025, and he has a very specific view of OMB. He basically thinks the OMB director should be the king's hand and represent the president in all things throughout the government, legislative, executive branch, wherever. He was the architect of the federal funding freeze that happened last week, where Medicaid portals were shut down, where Head Start was shut down, where construction projects were shut down. And he's got a lot more ideas. Government, legislative, executive branch, wherever. He was the architect of the federal funding freeze that happened last week, where
I did all that talking. This is what I'm trying to get you guys to understand. That he doesn't have the job yet, but that they said that was a part of the federal funding freeze. So how, if he don't have the job yet, and he slipped up and said with Blumenthal, I'm going to continue to do and release money. And Blumenthal, what do you mean you're going to continue to do? You don't have the job yet. He really told on himself in the confirmation hearings that what he is saying is what they are doing already, even though he don't have the job, is all of his suggestions from his Project 2025. Remember, 45, 47 say, oh, I don't know what, I don't know. I haven't read it. I have nothing to do with Project 2025. So he hasn't been confirmed, but that federal freezing thing was his idea. How do you know? I dropped the link to this video. How do we know that was his idea? Because I showed you, remember when there was a big uproar about the federal funding bill? Let me see. I showed you in an interview, and I was surprised that, let me see. There is confusion. Let me share with you this. I'm going to share this with you again because I was surprised that Jake Tapper didn't catch on to this. Here, let me share with you this. Okay. So after they enacted that federal funding that says that there will be no federal dollars given out for any thing that the federal grants, loans, payments, nothing. And then it was a big uproar. You guys remember that? And so then Jake Tapper did an interview with Stephen Miller, one of the biggest races who's at 45, 47 side. So they were like, he said, why is there so much confusion over the federal funding? So then he comes back and walk back and says, oh, this is not affected. That's not affected. All of these things are not affected that people have been complaining about. In the meantime, the Medicare portal was totally offline because they thought that they were not getting any more federal money. And then they said Social Security and Medicaid won't be interrupted, but Social Care and Medicare won't be interrupted, but Medicaid was. And then they came back and said, oh no, any direct payments to people will not be affected. Well, Medicare is not directly paid to the people. Medicare is a type of insurance payment that goes to the state to insure people. So that's not a direct payment to an individual. That's why it was offline. So, they tried to, use these words like, well, a lot of people do not know what's going on. So, they'll take for granted like, oh, well, they said my direct Medicaid payment won't be affected. No, because that don't go directly in your pocket anyway. They don't give you a couple of $1,000s to go pay your doctors. No, they pay it through your state Medicaid program. Okay, so he comes on to say, oh, no. How did you guys get this confused? Because it said all payments. It's no confusion when it says all. All means everything. So here comes Stephen Miller to lie, to say what the letter didn't mean and who got the letter confused. But I was surprised that Jake Tapper didn't catch on to this. This was 2 weeks ago. And here we are today. This Vought has not been approved for this seat of Office of Management and Budget. Let's hear what Stephen Miller had to say about the confusion about that federal freeze.
Growing questions and confusion about President Trump's move to pause federal grants and loans. Today, the White House is trying to reassure Americans that this order, which goes into effect at 5 p.m., about 33 minutes from now, is not as sweeping as it first appeared. But a group of nonprofits are already.
No one seems to know this, but Amazon actually has a $50 million fund.
How they have a commercial this quick? This is a short one.
The Trump administration over the move. Joining us now to hopefully provide some clarity is Stephen Miller, the White House Deputy Chief of Staff for Policy and a Homeland Security Advisor for President Trump. Stephen, good to see you again. Thanks for joining. So,
hey, my friend, good to see you.
A White House memo just issued this afternoon says that the pause does not affect Medicaid. It already had clarified that it didn't affect Social Security or Medicare. But the Medicaid website portal is experiencing an outage, and the White House press secretary this afternoon was not able to say whether Medicaid would be affected or not. So let's just walk through this because obviously.
So it initially said it wouldn't affect Medicare and Social Security. Then they came out with a letter that said it won't affect Medicaid because the Medicaid portal was down. The initial letter only says Social Security and Medicare. So look at this jackass. He looked like he's drunk or high or something. This Stephen Miller character, in my opinion. Look at him.
There's confusion. Is this pause going to affect Medicaid?
It does not affect any service that the government is required to provide. It does not affect any entitlement. It does not affect any service to citizens, does not affect any individual benefit, any public assistance program, or anything of that nature.
Okay, so that's
very glad for the chance to explain what's going on here. In fact, I could actually give you some backstory. I think you'd find.
So we know he's lying. It said all except for Medicare and Social Security. So he's blatantly lying. Let's continue.
I'm very useful, Jake. So we found after the president had issued a pause on funding to NGOs that were settling illegal immigrants, we found that bureaucrats at HHS were trying to funnel billions more dollars to those resettlement agencies and try to get around the executive order. It became clear that bureaucrats were still trying to funnel unapproved discretionary grants of funds to their pet projects.
Where did it become clear at? They had been in office, I think, 3 or 4 days here. Now they're saying that, well, we need to cut off funds from HHS because it had become clear that even though they were funded, they were using it to support keeping illegal immigrants here against the executive order. This is bullshit. This is bullshit. They said all federal spending. Let's continue.
So OMB, led by Russ Vought, felt it was necessary.
So OMB led by who? So OMB led by Russ Vought, who is not the head of OMB to this day, who they are filibustering. They filibustered all night last night to not vote him in today, to urge other senators on the other side to not vote him in today. But this is 2 weeks ago. When is this video? This is when they did that federal freeze. Let me see when this video came out. 8 days ago. 8 days ago. Let's hear what he said again.
So OMB, led by Russ Vought, felt it was necessary to protect taxpayer resources to issue clearer guidance.
So OMB, led by Russ Vought, said that it was important to protect taxpayers by not funding. Let's be clear. Who pays the more taxes? The middle class and the poor people. Those are the taxpayers. Those are the people that need these programs that they unilaterally decide to stop funding. And he said Russ Vought, the head of the OMB. Let's be clear.
Unapproved discretionary grants of funds to their pet projects. So OMB, led by Russ Vought, felt it was necessary to protect taxpayer resources to issue clearer guidance establishing for these discretionary grants of funding that are not directed by Congress, that they go through a political approval process at the agency.
So let's get into that because a number of government-funded organizations, so these are organizations like Meals.
Okay, that's the only point that I wanted to make. So, in fact, Russ Vought has been over OMB for quite a while. And are we clear on that? I'm going to drop this link for you to let you know that it's a whole lot of bullshit going on behind this. Russ Vought has not been approved. This is 8 days ago when they fucked up and did what Russ Vought told them to do. Then they said that they rescinded the memo, and then they got sued. They got sued. I forget. In one state, and it encompasses, I think, 2 other states joined in with it, and then they still said the actions, the freeze, and the memo were still in effect after a judge told them for these 3 states, and then they got a judgment first to freeze, to not do the freeze. They got a judgment for that, and that was until the following Monday morning. And then they got a second judge who told them that they could not do the freeze, but then they tried to get around it by saying, oh, well, that's just for those 3 states. And then finally, they got a third judgment from Washington, D.C. courts that said in all 50 states, and do not try to rewrite this and try to say it's something else. We are talking about everything that in this memo you cannot do. Period. The judge had to make sure that they covered it in any way. There are no get-arounds. You cannot freeze federal funding. So what did they do? Then they get Elon Musk in 5 to 7 19 to 25-year-olds going in there questioning federal people who have worked in different agencies 30 and 40 years, asking them in the Treasury, in the USAID, all of these people asking them how do they code different mechanism on the computer and all of this type of stuff. Now, let's be clear, for the Treasury, they allegedly only have a viewing privilege to see what goes on in the Treasury, but they are allegedly putting hard drives, asking people, what did you do to code these? You understand that these are computer nerds, and they are allegedly getting the coding apparatuses for these different things, and it's just crazy. So nobody can tell us anything that these hackers are doing, who are working with Elon Musk in the Treasury Department with all access to all of our information. One of the guys I showed you guys yesterday that Elon Musk knew from an actual event that he had, a hacking event. It was a contest to see who could hack into something. This was an actual contest. And this is one of the people who is actually on his team of 19 to 25-year-old questioning career workers and telling them not to show up for their job. These are motherfuckers who don't even know how and why and what importance government is, obviously. They don't know shit about life because they're nerds. They've had their fucking faces stuck up in computers. What do they know about civics? What do they know about civics? These motherfuckers are living in imaginal worlds that they create and all of that type of stuff to only get recognition, like I say, when they go to win science fairs and all this type of shit. But these are motherfuckers who are making decisions and telling people who have done these jobs that, no, you're no longer needed. Real crass and cruel in real emails late at night. Emails don't come to work in the morning, locking them out of their computers. A bunch of sycophants to Elon Musk. This is who's running the government right now and closing all of these agencies. Okay, I dropped you that link. Let me close this page. Did I drop you that link? Let me be sure. Yes, I dropped you that link. So now I did tell you that he was the co-author of Project 2025. The restraining order, they went back to court in D.C. It is no longer a restraining order. It's an order that they cannot do the freeze. The restraining order was the first thing that they got until the following Monday. And then there were 2 more court cases where judges said that they cannot do a federal freeze. And they had to do the one in D.C. that encompasses all get-arounds that they were trying to do. So this last get-around that they're doing is with Elon Musk. They are still doing the same thing by closing down a lot of these organizations. Hi, Ronnie Humaz in chat. One of my GPS works for the U.S. Department of Veterans Affairs. She knows firsthand and told me that VA benefits and services will not be affected. Okay, great. Yeah, because they went to court, because that's why they won't be affected, because they have a court order that they cannot be affected. Thank you. You're welcome. I always try to drop the links because that's okay. Yeah, so that was just a pause, so they couldn't do anything. The restraining order was a pause until the following Monday. Now, let me share this with you about Russell Vought. Now, here we go. I'm going to share this one with you first. This is what he said prior to 45-47 being elected. I think, let me see. Here we go. And you may have heard this about him saying this about what he wanted to do. One of the comments, this says, it's time to make GOP leadership less powerful. So they don't even want their leadership to have the power that it has. The senators and the congressmen, they want to, because it's three equal branches of government. The judicial, the, oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God. I cannot believe after all the time that I'll be talking shit about the three equal branches of government. The Congress, the presidency, and the judicial branches. That I said it wrong, but those are the three branches. Legislative, the legislative, judicial, and the whatever the presidency is. I cannot believe I'm having a brain fart. Executive, legislative, and judicial. Excuse me. So let me share this with you.
We want the bureaucrats to be traumatically affected. We want, when they wake up in the morning, we want them to not want to go to work because they are increasingly viewed as the villains. We want their funding to be shut down so that the EPA.
So this is Russ Vought. He wants the bureaucrats to do what? This is Russ Vought doing one of his little talks, and you hear the dumb bitch in the front. Oh, that's so funny. And this is exactly what they're doing right now. Understand that this is what they're doing right now.
Affected.
So where did all of these policies come from? From the man who didn't know, I don't know nothing about Project 2025. But why are all these Project 2025 being enacted on the government right now is what I'm asking. Here we go.
We want, when they wake up in the morning, we want them to not want to go to work because they are increasingly viewed as the villains. We want their funding to be shut down so that the EPA can't do all of the rules against our energy industry because they have no bandwidth financially to do so. We want to put them in trauma.
Okay, so the EPA can't do all their rules against big business. Okay, let me.
No bandwidth financially to do so against our energy industry because they have no bandwidth.
So the EPA can't enact all their rules against our big energy corporations.
No bandwidth financially to do so. We want to put industry because they have no bandwidth financially to do so. We want to
against our energy suppliers. Let me see. Let me see. Is there more to this? Russ didn't. Okay, there's a little bit more. I didn't realize. He didn't respond to requests for comment. A Trump campaign representative said that only Trump and the campaign, not any other organization, represent policies for the second term. But yet and still, they are doing all these policies, and the bureaucrats are hurting. And they want them to get up because they email them late at night and tell them don't bother to come in for work. So there was a secret investigation done by these European guys where they were wired and they talked to Vote, and that came out. Let's see this. Project 2025 co-author lays out a radical agenda for next Trump term in Undercover video. So I'm just going to play parts of this. Hold on. Let me see what you guys are saying before we get into this. Yes, I know. I knew. I just couldn't think of legislative, judicial, and executive. I know exactly what the branches of government are, but I was having a brain fart. Thank you, Great White Phantom. I was just having a brain fart as much as I talk about the three branches of government. So let's delve into this. I've showed this for you guys before. I'm gonna drop the link so you guys can hear all of it yourselves. So so this is Democracy Now! If you haven't subscribed to them, you may want to. Here we go.
Undercover video that shows the co-author of Project 2025 bragging about his ties to Republican presidential candidate Donald Trump, even as Trump is trying to distance himself from the right-wing blueprint for his potential second term. The video features Russell Vought, who is director of the Trump White House Office of Management and Budget. It shows Vought meeting in a five-star Washington, D.C. hotel with two men he thought were relatives of a wealthy conservative donor. But Vought was actually talking to two undercover reporters with the Center for Climate Reporting, an independent British news outlet. They were secretly recording him. In a minute, one of those reporters will join us. But first, this is the video report accompanying their new investigation. It's called Undercover in Project 2025, the secretive second phase and the radical policies for rollout on day one.
Two undercover reporters posing as donors are about to meet one of the key architects of Project 2025.
Okay, so on day one, see, they have a 180-day plan. I don't know how many times I have played Ayanna Pressley questioning them, these authors and co-authors of different chapters of Project 2025, what exactly they had in store for this 180-day plan that they plan to enact. And the only answer she got was a vague answer of what was on the paper to make sure that they're ready on day one to enact all of the things that they want to do in the first 180 days. So this is and it's a very secretive plan. You will see that they don't even want to put it on paper or emails or anything because people can get Freedom of Information Act FOIA requests if they put it down on paper. So we are in day 17 of this administration, and look at all the stuff that has gone on. Day 17. So can you imagine where we'll be by the 180-day when all of the shit that they have for the first 180-day secretive plan are done? When we're here on day 17. Let's continue.
The radical plan for Trump's second term.
Proposals in the big policy book that they produced. And recently you've seen Trump's campaign managers really, as you saw in the film, really aggressively attacking Project 20.
Accompanying their new investigation. It's called Undercover in Project 2025. Was actually talking to two undercover reporters with the Center for Climate Reporting, an independent British news outlet. They were secretly recording him. In a minute, one of those reporters will join us. But first, this is the video report accompanying their new investigation. It's called Undercover in Project 2025, the secretive second phase and the radical policies for rollout on day 1.
Two undercover reporters posing as donors are about to meet one of the key architects of Project 2025, the radical plan for Trump's second term, in a hotel suite rigged with hidden cameras.
Nice to meet you. Would you like coffee or something? I'd love coffee. Yeah.
Meet Russell Vought.
Russell Vought, the former director of the Office of Management and Budget.
He's been called the most dangerous MAGA diehard you've never heard of.
I am opposed to the Department of Education because I think it's the Department of Critical Race Theory.
The Russ Vought were comrades in arms.
Formerly a cabinet member and chief lieutenant in the first Trump admin,
I want to thank Russ for doing an incredible job.
he now runs a group called Center for Renewing America.
An organization that I helped turn into the Death Star that is accomplishing all the debates that you are reading about. I think you have to rehabilitate Christian nationalism. You have the largest deportation in history.
Okay. So we remember Blumenthal asked him about this organization that he founded. He's telling you now about this organization that he founded himself, but he didn't want to talk about it in his confirmation hearing. So let's hear what he is saying when he's bragging about his organization. I'm sorry, I have to interrupt anyway. So I'm just trying to get you to hear these little points. Okay. Let's go.
Job.
He now runs a group called Center for Renewing America.
An organization that I helped turn into the Death Star that is accomplishing all the debates that you are reading about. I think you have to rehabilitate Christian nationalism. You have the largest deportation in history, block funding for Planned Parenthood. I want to be the person that crushes the deep state.
Vought is one of the key authors of the blueprint for a second Trump administration.
Project 2025.
It's an ambitious 920-page blueprint.
Like eliminating the Department of Education, the mass firings of civil servants,
banning access to the abortion pill, and further restricting abortion rights.
In recent weeks, the plans have become so controversial that Trump has been forced to distance himself.
They're sort of the opposite of the radical left, okay? You have the radical left and you have the radical right. And they come up with this, I don't know what the hell it is. It's Project 25.
Are you ready? I know nothing about Project 25. I haven't seen the document. I don't intend to really see the document.
But behind...
I don't know nothing about Project 20. I don't know nothing about Project 25. So you hear that he didn't say he didn't know nothing about Project 2025. He said, I don't know nothing about Project 25. Catch.
Closed doors. Vought tells us not to take Trump's disavowal seriously.
I expect you to hear 10 more times from the rally, the president, distancing himself from the left's boogeyman of Project 2025.
Yeah.
And you're not worried about that? I'm not worried about it. Okay. He's running against the brand. He is not running against any people.
Okay.
He is not running against any institutions. It's interesting. He's in fact not even opposing himself to a particular policy. Yeah. He's been at our organization. He's raised money for our organization. He's blessed it from the, I remember walking into our last day in office and told him what I was going to do. So he's very supportive of what we do.
Our investigation into Project...
So we know that's true. We know that's true. He let you know, yeah, he's saying it publicly, but he's supported our organization. He's behind our organization. We know that to be true. We knew it was true when he said something. When he even said it, he couldn't even say Project 2025. I don't know anything about Project 25. No, of course you do, because you had no policy issues when you were running, because you didn't need any, because they were already written out. You think. Well, he does think his voters are dumb. That's why he said he loved his uneducated voters. Let's continue.
2025 began 2 weeks before the meeting with Vought at a conference for religious nationalists in D.C.
The truth is, Christian nationalism is not a threat to American democracy. Christian nationalism founded American democracy.
Journalists from the Center for Climate Reporting have come posing as potential donors, looking to meet those involved in Project 2025. They're not hard to find. The Heritage Foundation, the group running the project, are here. So is Vought's think tank. we make the acquaintance of Mika Meadowcroft, an author on Project 2025 and a close aide to Vought. He tells us that Vought is running the secretive second phase of Project 2025.
The second phase after the book came out was to break down like actual sort of policy packets and executive orders and agenda items, things like that. That's been supervised largely by us.
The first phase of Project 2025 was
Now, executive orders. It is to break down policy packages and executive orders. You know, all of those stacks of executive orders that he sits at his desk in front of the press. Don't read these orders. Have a butler type person present him these big black folders, and he tells him executive order to do X, Y, and Z, sir. And then he looks at it. He opens it up, nods at the page, and then sign it, and then turn it around and show it off as he's answering questions to the press. He's not paying attention to any of these fucking executive orders that he's signing in because he doesn't have to. Let's continue.
a 922-page policy book published openly. The second phase is a comprehensive, concrete transition plan for each federal agency. These much more detailed plans are confidential.
Yeah, because obviously you want as little of it.
Oh, we're going to go back. I want y'all to, let me slow this down so you can actually read what's on this paper about this 180-day plan. They will not tell anyone about it.
That's been supervised largely by us.
The first phase of Project 2025 was a 922-page policy book published openly.
180-day
The second
plan.
phase is a comprehensive, concrete transition plan for each federal agency. These much
A comprehensive, cohesive transition plan for each federal agency. The 180-day playbook. But they
more
want
detailed plans are confidential.
Yeah, because obviously you want as little of it.
any more detailed plans are confidential. Well, we're out of the confidential phase. We're into the real life phase of this 180-day playbook.
These much more detailed plans are confidential.
Yeah, because obviously you want as little of it to be foyable. Yeah. If you're familiar with the FOIA process, as possible. Freedom of Information Act, yeah.
The Freedom of Information Act allows the public to request government communications, but Meadowcroft reveals they plan to avoid these rules.
Yeah, the goal is you familiarize all the transition team people with these plans, but you don't actually send them to their work emails because they're right. Yeah. You could just give the handbooks to everyone. You're like, this is the game plan for the admin. Yeah. If the press knows that that's what you're doing, that they're going to immediately just say I request all of your emails from Heritage. Okay. You worker. I see. So we'll see.
Interesting. Meadowcroft offers to set up a meeting with his boss, Russell Vought.
You could put me in touch with somebody who looks after his diary or whatever.
Yeah, so you put you in touch with his schedule. Yeah.
Amazing.
So, yeah. Great. Yeah, so just tell me when to do that.
We want to meet the man writing the game plan for Trump's second administration. Vought believes that in his first term, Trump's agenda was frustrated by what he calls the deep state. So Vought is planning a radical centralization of government power under the president, firing civil servants and ending the independence of agencies like the FBI and DOJ.
80% of my time is working on the plans of what's necessary to take control of these bureaucracies. And we are working doggedly on that, whether it's destroying their agency's notion of independence, they're independent from the president.
Vought has also been preparing documents based on fringe legal theories, arguing the president has the power to use the military against protesters.
George Floyd obviously was not about race, it was about destabilizing.
Okay. So he is doing that. Are we clear about the agencies? Now let's get into he wants to end the agency thinking they're independent of the president. So that is the part where if you think you're independent, the FBI is independent, the CIA is independent, you're not loyal to the president. And that's a whole lot of the things that you hear in the emails. We don't think that you can we don't think that you can do the president's agenda. We don't think that you are suited to follow through with what the president agenda is. Why is any of these agencies have to be loyal to the president's agenda? The president's agenda don't have anything to do with these agencies because they want their loyalists in these positions. And a lot of these firings are unconstitutional. There are so many court cases in about these firings, about all of this stuff that's going on. I think it's going too slowly. As quickly as they're doing these things, is really going very slow. Now, let's hear. He said that the George Floyd thing wasn't about race. It was about tearing down the government. No, you're about tearing down the government. So therefore, he's going to tell you why it's okay to have the military quell public protests, peaceful protests, because he's trying to let you think that people protesting is something other than what it is. Let's continue.
The military against protesters.
George Floyd obviously was not about race. It was about destabilizing the Trump administration. Right.
So it was about destabilizing the Trump administration, obviously. Because you just say obviously to like act like everybody know what that was. No, it was about what it was about. But it was obviously about destabilizing the Trump administration. Jabba.
We put out, for instance, a 50-page paper designed for lawyers to know that the president has, the ability both along the border and elsewhere to maintain law and order with the military, and that's something that it's going to be important for him to remember and his lawyers to affirm. But we've given him the case for that.
With loyalists,
we're giving him the case that it is okay for him to secure the borders with military and other areas, and we're giving him the case for that, and that's going to be up for him to remember and for his lawyers to affirm. So it's not like, this is a man who you heard at his confirmation hearing saying that it didn't matter what the Supreme Court has settled as case law. As long as they run it amongst themselves and are okay with it, they're going to do it their way. And we already know that this Supreme Court has given 45, 47 the leeway that he cannot be prosecuted for anything that he does, which he feels is a presidential act. Let's continue. Did y'all know that? I think y'all know that. Y'all hear me say that so many times.
Installed in key government agencies and armed with his playbook, Vought believes a radical Christian nationalist agenda can be realized under a second Trump presidency. For example, on abortion.
So I think the president's actually come up with a strategy that works, so long as you are giving people like me in the government the ability to block funding for Planned Parenthood, block funding for fetal tissue research. But what I told people is he had the most pro-life record ever. I've never seen him take it to stand in the way of a pro-life initiative that actually was real, politically and with momentum.
And for Vought, Trump's pick for vice president shows he's serious about pushing this ideological agenda when in power.
So I am very happy with the JD pick. I think it's transformative for sure. And he's think of him as a member version of what we do. Yeah. So there's no think tank, no policy organization, no battle plan creator other than us for the worldview that I think Donald Trump has and that JD has.
But as public backlash against these plans builds, the Trump campaign has been scrambling to distance themselves from Project 2025's authors.
It's complete and utter bull for any reporter to write that this is the way it is. The president's made it clear these people do not speak for him. They do not speak for the campaign.
But Vought tells us that behind the scenes, things are much friendlier. The Trump campaign recently picked him to write the Republicans' policy platform, making him essentially Project 2025's man on the inside.
I think the best example is like the campaign selected me to be the platform because of their views on my policy ideas, and they're not running from all of the negativity that I get from the press.
I see. So they haven't been spooked on you as a person, you don't think?
No, I mean, I don't think I'm going to be their transition pick because then they have all these kinds of stories. Yeah. But no, the relationship is great.
The head of the Trump transition team has not yet been appointed, but Vought says that no matter who is named, he'll be able to hand over his Project 2025 battle plans directly.
If it's someone like Stephen Miller or Bob Lighthizer, then all this stuff gets plugged right in. If it's not, we'll figure it out.
Don't forget, Stephen Miller was the one who I just showed you, who said, who let you know that freezing the federal spending was Russell Vought's, who is over the OMB, who is in fact has not been voted in confirmed to be the OMB, the head of the OMB as of today. remember 8 days ago, Stephen Miller. That's Stephen Miller. That's the Stephen Miller he's talking to you about. If Stephen Miller is over it, it's the Project 2025 is going to be plugged right in. That he's telling you. Listen to what he says about Stephen Miller one more time, and then I'm gonna let this go.
I think I'm going to be their transition pick because then they have all these kinds of stories.
Yeah.
But no, the relationship is great.
The head of the Trump transition team has not yet been appointed, but Vought says that no matter who is named, he'll be able to hand over his Project 2025 battle plans directly.
If it's someone like a Stephen Miller or Bob Lighthizer, then all this stuff gets plugged right in. If it's not, we'll figure it out.
Okay.
But all of it.
Well, it is. Okay, so I dropped that link several times. Let me see what you guys have to say about that. Hey, Mama Fifi, thank you for the super sticker, Brenda. Hey, Brenda, good Grand Rising. See, that's what pissed them off. George Floyd protest. The fact that it was televised showed the raw truth, and the word woke was formed. He shed light on the police. I'm waiting on. Okay, I am actually waiting on Devin. What is it? Derek Chauvin to get a pardon. I keep telling you guys I think that is happening. You're mean, you're fat, you're old, you stutter, you have 29 in your chat. Please stop going live. But you're here. But you decided to subscribe so you can say that. When did I stutter? You're mean. Okay. You're mean. Okay. 14 is fat. Okay. Okay. You have 29 in your chat. How many do you have in your chat though? And you subscribed over here to say that? You're a fan. You're a fan. So sit here and learn something, you fucking ignorant piece of shit. Sit here and learn. But you're ignorant. Okay. So real Mama Fifi, people don't take it seriously about Project 2025. No excuse. It was being talked about by many. Exactly. But you have many dummies out here that only like to talk about dumb things. Actually, I have 36 people in my chat. You know, hey, other things are important to dumb motherfuckers, but hey, I'm just putting my content together that you're over here watching. He will definitely pardon Chauvin, making a point to us woke people. Okay, so what else do we have? Now I want to talk about all of this talk about taking over Gaza. So are we clear that this is just a ploy to keep your mind off of what's really going on? What's all to keep your attention off the robber barons and all of this type of stuff? Because I showed you the clip where he was talking and Netanyahu was like, well, you know, he has thought about this more than I have. Like that was the first time of him hearing any of this. We're going to take over Gaza and we're going to remove all the bombs and all of this. That's some type of shock and awe. Look this way while let's send all the cops over to this area while we're robbing the bank on the other side of town shit. Okay, so let's see. What is this one? I showed you this one. Let me see. I just want to make sure I showed you everything that I wanted to show you. This. Okay. Hold on 1 second. Hold on. Here we go. Is this? I'm trying to find. Okay. Hold on 1 second. Okay. So let's review this. So you know that there was a whole lot of bullshit, right? Hey, Miss Toby, how you doing? Actually, all you do is show what an ignorant ass fool you are and what a fan you are. But let's continue. Let's continue. Yes, and I make such good potato salad as well. Girl, if that Gaza stuff didn't show he's nuts even by even using that distraction, his folks need to come up with something else. Smoke and mirrors. I feel sick seeing him and Netanyahu together. Okay, so let's talk about that Gaza thing, because you know some people can only talk about dumb shit. So let's talk about that Gaza thing. That's why they're mad. That's why they're mad. That's why they actually signed up to this page and come over here to talk dumb shit as if anything they're saying means anything to me. Okay. Hold on 1 second. Why is this up here? Hold on. Here we go. This is what I want to share with you.
Is necessary. If it's necessary, we'll do that. We're going to take all that piece. We're going to develop it.
Hold on. Let me slow this down a little bit for my fan in the back. Let me slow this down.
Watch what?
Commercial. Hold on. So they've already walked back their statement about this Gaza thing. Now let's see what the Middle East is saying about this. Okay, let's go. Okay. What was this? Saudi Arabia reiterates it won't form ties with Israel without a Palestinian state. So that's what Saudi Arabia has to say. He wants to level Gaza. Saudi says it won't allow. Saudi Arabia rejected strongly to the U.S. president's Gaza takeover plan. Riyadh said, oh shit. It dismissed Trump's claim that Palestinian statehood is not a condition for peace. Obviously, they're going to have to give Palestinian a statehood. Let me see. Now, this is what Saudi Arabia is saying. You know, the Saudis who gave Jared Kushner $3 billion at the end of the last Trump presidential run. So let's see what this idiot is saying.
You end up in the same place and doing the same process that's gone on for thousands and thousands of jobs. And as far as Gaza is concerned, we'll do what is necessary. If it's necessary, we'll do that. We're going to take over that piece and we're going to develop it, create thousands and thousands of jobs. And it'll be something that the entire Middle East can be very proud of. But everybody feels that continuing the same process that's gone on forever, over and over again, and then it starts, and then the killing starts, and all of the other problems start, and you end up same place, and we don't want to see that happen. So by the United States, with its stability and strength, owning it, especially the strength that we're developing and developed over the last fairly short period of time, I would say really since the election, I think we'll be a great keeper of something that is very, very strong, very powerful, and very, very good for the area, not just for Israel, for the entire Middle East, very important. And we'll, again, have thousands of jobs, and there'll be jobs for everyone, not for a specific group of people, but for everybody. Okay, please.
I mentioned again tonight our 3 goals. And the third goal is to make sure that Gaza never poses a threat to Israel again. President Trump is taking it to a much higher level. He sees a different future.
Now he's like, President Trump has taken it to a much higher level. I wouldn't have even came out here and said that we wanted to do ethnic cleansing in Gaza, even though we bombed it to shit. I would not have come out here and been such a dummy to say that this is what we're going to do, ethnic cleansing. All the people who happen to survive, we're going to take them off of their land and shutter them off somewhere else. But we've already heard, if you watch my channel, as I'm sitting here giving you facts and motherfuckers are in here hating, as I giving you the information that Jared Kushner already said that out loud when he was at Harvard doing a big interview at Harvard 10 months ago. 4547 said that on the Hugh Hewitt show 3 months ago, that this is what that Gaza was great real estate land. I showed you these videos yesterday. So people acting as if this is the first time they heard this come out of these professional land developers' mouths are only bullshitting you. We've heard this before. So he comes out here with Netanyahu, and Netanyahu is like kind of like holding his laugh in, like shit. He's taking it to a different level. He's taking it to a different level. But motherfucker, you are the one who crumbled their whole Palestine. But you're not supposed to say this type of shit out loud, you dummy. Okay, let's continue.
For that piece of land that has been the focus of so much terrorism, so many attacks against us, so many trials and so many tribulations. He has a different idea. And I think it's worth paying attention to this. We're talking about it. He's exploring it with his people, with his staff. I think
with who? That was the first time anybody heard that shit. People were aghast. Like, I can't believe that stupid ass motherfucker came out and said that shit. Let's continue. But the heat is on about the real shit that's going on. So he has to say something dumb. Now let's hear what he has to say about will military go into? How are we going to clean up all of this and all of that? Is the military going to be involved when we take this over?
It's something that could change history, and it's worthwhile really pursuing this avenue.
Saudi foreign minister said its stance on Palestinian state remains firm and unwavering. So are we really trying to pretend like this is a thing? What, we're going to go up against Saudi Arabia and all the Middle East? They like Trump because he doesn't put us in endless wars. Are you fucking kidding me? This is bullshit. The kingdom wants a state based on the pre-1967 lines with East Jerusalem as its capital. Remember, 4547 was the one who moved the capital to Jerusalem. Saudi also rejected Trump's proposal to displace Palestinians from Gaza for rebuilding. Now, he said that he was going to rebuild it. They asked him who would live there. He was like, world people will live there. He didn't say the Palestinian will live there. Then they said, well, will the Palestinians live? He said, yeah, some Palestinians will live there. No, he wanted them out. And then he started feeling stupid. Like, well, can't you just move them out and bring them back when they're done? Oh, well, we tried that before. Okay, that's good. Saudi foreign minister said it categorically rejects any displacement and resettlement plan.
أكدت وزارة الخارجية أن موقف المملكة من قيام الدولة الفلسطينية هو موقف راسخ وثابت ولا يتزعزع.
The Ministry of Foreign Affairs affirmed that the kingdom position on the establishment of the Palestinian state is firm, steadfast, and unwavering. That is a firm position. It is not subject to negotiation or outbidding. That's a period after that.
وأن هذا الموقف الثابت ليس محل تفاوض أو مزايدات. كما تشدد المملكة على ما سبق أن أعلنته من رفضها القاطع على المساس بحقوق الشعب الفلسطيني المشروعة، سواء من خلال سياسات الاستيطان الإسرائيلي أو ضم الأراضي الفلسطينية أو السعي لتهجير الشعب الفلسطيني من أرضه. وإن واجب المجتمع الدولي اليوم هو العمل على رفع المعاناة الإنسانية القاسية التي يرزح تحت وطأتها الشعب الفلسطيني الذي سيظل متمسكا بأرضه ولن يتزحزح عنها.
Okay, so that's just Saudi Arabia. So let's see what Turkey has to say about that. Remember, he said maybe Turkey or Jordan will take some of the people who wants them in between their states. But you say you don't want Palestinian a state in between Turkey and Jordan. But then at the same time, you're saying maybe Turkey or Jordan will take them in and absorb them as you push them off of their own land. So let's see what Turkey and Jordan, who are on each side, have to say about this. Everybody can't talk about these types of things. So let's see what they have to say about it. Okay, here we go.
Devam eden bu yanlışa inşallah son verilecek. Yani bu hem bölgede istikrarsızlığı tetikleyen bir konu hem de Türk-Amerikan ilişkilerini gerçekten zedeleyen açık bir yara. Bunun kapanmasını diliyoruz.
No taker for Trump's chilling clean Gaza proposal. Let me turn this music down because it's getting on my nerves. After Egypt, Jordan, NATO ally Turkey slams the U.S. President. Completely oppose the idea, stands against it. NATO nation Turkey has slammed Donald Trump for his clean Gaza proposal. Foreign Minister Hakan Fidan said Ankara is completely opposed to the plan. No takers. The Turkish ministry said that the proposal goes against humanitarian law. He urged everyone to stand against the plan proposed by the U.S. president. Egypt and Jordan have rejected Trump's suggestion to relocate Gaza's population. Meanwhile, Fidan said Turkey could take in some Palestinian prisoners freed by Israel. They will take in the prisoners. As Turkey, we stand behind the declaration made in Cairo. We support this declaration. We are completely against the project. Palestinian people from Gaza, displacing them and sending them to other countries. This is a proposal that is truly against human rights. We think it is everyone's duty to stand against it. So there's no takers. Mr. President, Turkey President also expressed that in order to support the agreement, we, along with others, and of course Turkey, would host some Palestinians, those who have been released. We currently are making preparations to recommend the wounded who will be evacuated from Palestine. We need advanced care and treatment in Turkish hospitals. Who need advanced care and treatment in Turkish hospital? They'll take them. Our preparations are to treat patients in Turkey. Okay. So they will take some of the people who have been prisoners of Israel, but they are not going to remove the Palestinians from their land. So here's the link to this. So it don't seem like Turkey is on board either. Let me see. Let me see. I'm trying to copy this. Here we go. Yes, the whole world. He has us looking crazy out here. Looking crazy out here. What are these people thinking about America? Just coming out here saying this dumb stuff. Wow, what's really going on in the United States? So he just feel like he can just say all of this dumb stuff. Okay, let me see. What is this? Now, let's talk about, let me see. I think this is the one. Hold on, just 1 second. I want to tell you why. Is this the one? Hold on. Yeah, I think this is the one. Okay, I'm telling you why. I want to show you why Elon Musk. He said that the USAID is corrupt and it has to go, and all of these tweets that he's taking out about the USAID. Why? Elon Musk's enemy, the USAID, was investigating Starlink's contract in the Ukraine. So what do you now you understand why they are making sure that they close the USAID? Now there have been protests all across the United States about them being able to do this. And the protests are getting louder and louder, and there are more people out on the street protesting this. He's doing all of this because they are investigating Starlink contracts in Ukraine. This is about an individual, and God forbid whoever was getting help, assistance, food, funding, anything. You're not going to investigate me and my Starlink thing in Ukraine. So he has his hands in the pot all over the world, with Russia, Ukraine, China, everywhere. And he's running around our government like a lunatic. And a lunatic is letting him do this. Let me share this link with you guys. Yes, and the 25th Amendment is also a better option, just to throw them out. Why you only have 31 H's in why you only have 31? Well, go over there and laugh about it. Go over there and laugh about it. But I'm their content. They're not mine. Join again under another troll page. Go where you are entertained. I'm not here to entertain. I'm here to educate. I give zero fucks about what anybody says about me. You got the wrong one, baby. Okay. He is gone. Okay, let me find this page. Let me see. What is the name of that? He has. I think this is the one. Okay, let me share this with you. Okay.
And crucial Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services. That is the source of health insurance for more than 100.
Hold on. Let me slow down the. Okay, here we go.
$150 million older and poorer Americans. And again, as with much of this, what is he doing with that access? Are growing. The Musk is still pushing on, continuing to invade government systems. Today, staffers with his extra-governmental Department of Government Efficiency reportedly entered the headquarters of the national agencies that Congress.
Okay.
Agencies that Congress duly created. Americans across the country in protests and demonstrations and teach-ins are focusing their outrage on Musk with calls of fire Elon, even though it is not entirely clear who he is working for other than himself. We're going to have much more on those protests later in the show. They are growing. The Musk is still pushing on, continuing to invade government systems. Today, staffers with his extra-governmental Department of Government Efficiency reportedly entered the headquarters of the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration in Maryland, as well as the building of its parent agency, the Department of Commerce in Washington. They apparently just sort of walked past security and said, "Get out of my way," and they're looking for access to the IT systems as they have in other agencies. Andrew Rosenberg, a former NOAA official with knowledge of the incident, told Mother Jones. He added, "They will have access to the entire computer system, a lot of which is confidential information." Now, it should be noted here that Project 2025, the right-wing blueprint for Trump's second term, which pulled abysmally and Trump tried to deny he had anything to do with, Well, look at that. It called for NOAA to be broken up and downsized because its role in promoting climate science was harmful to U.S. prosperity. Musk staffers have also gained access to payment and contracting systems at the extremely important and crucial Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services. That is the source of health insurance for more than 150 million older and poorer Americans. And again, as with much of this, what is he doing with that access? Totally unclear. Who knows? He did post on the social media platform he owns saying, yeah, this is where the big money fraud is happening.
So Medicare and Medicaid is where the big money fraud is happening. It's big money. That's where the big money fraud is happening.
This all comes on the heels of Musk's other moves, including his sudden and illegal attempt to shut down the U.S. Agency for International Development, which is already wreaking havoc on public health and life-saving aid around the world, and his takeover of the Department of Treasury's internal payment system that manages the payments of $6 trillion of U.S. government money. Trump officials continue to insist that Musk's access to that crucial, basically the government's bank account, that access is read-only. Insiders say otherwise. Multiple sources telling Wired that a 25-year-old engineer named Marco Ellis, who previously worked for 2 Elon Musk companies, has direct access to Treasury Department systems responsible for nearly all payments made by the U.S. government. 2 of those sources say that Ellis's privileges include the ability not just to read, but to write code on 2 of the most sensitive systems in the U.S. government. These systems control, on a granular level, government payments that in their totality amount to, ready for this, more than a fifth of the entire U.S. economy. One 25-year-old mucking around in that system. This is just a fraction of what the world's richest man, a guy that no one voted for, a guy who's actually constitutionally banned for running for president, has done to take over the U.S. government. And so Democrats on the House Oversight Committee, tasked, of course, with the duty of oversight, tried to do some of that oversight today, to subpoena Musk, to just have him come to testify before the committee about what he's up to. Interestingly, the committee's Republican members refused to allow debate on the motion, and when Democrats argued, that chaos unfolded.
Mr. Chairman, I think it's outrageous that this committee will not even entertain a motion.
No, you state your Chairman, that's not a point of order.
Somebody who's breaking the law and dismantling our federal agents.
So they wanted to put Musk under a subpoena and have him come in and ask questions. And listen at how these Republicans won't even allow discussion on before they vote on this, on the motion. They won't even allow discussion on the motion. Let's vote.
Data, and we will not even entertain a motion to bring this to the Oversight Committee.
Are in favor of tabling.
Yes, let's have order in this country.
You're out of order. You know you're out of order. You know the rules of this committee. There's been a motion.
Mr. Elon Musk is out of order and dismantling.
He's out of order. I call the question. There's been a motion.
Comer is such a joke. He doesn't even know the Robert rules of order, and he's always hammering down wrong information, and then somebody will go whisper in his ear. He's a fucking joke.
Motion and second. Motion by Dr. Fox, second by Mr. Higgins to table. All those in favor of tabling signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed signify by saying no.
No.
In the opinion of the chair, the ayes have it.
Most people have.
In the opinion of the chair, the ayes had it. It sounds like the noes were louder, but in his opinion, the ayes have it, and they are tabling it, and they will not bring him in front of Congress to talk under oath. So. Now let's see some of the things that I just told you that the U.S. What was it? The USAID are investigating him. So let's see what he has been saying.
Issues or regulatory oversight.
Let's see what he's saying about the USAID in his tweets. Now you understand why the USAID.
Reasons why this is so important is because Elon Musk, the man Republicans are letting dismantle, muck with swaths of the federal government, has a direct personal and financial interest in dismantling much of the government. He is a walking conflict of interest. I won't even mention all of the investigations into safety issues or regulation.
We spent the weekend feeding USAID into the wood chipper. Could gone to some great parties. Did that instead. So he's bragging about the offices that were investigating him. We spent the weekend feeding them to the wood.
Regulatory oversight. But let me give you an example here. He bragged he spent last weekend feeding USAID into the wood chipper. That came a day after he posted, quote, USAID is a criminal organization, time for...
USAID is a criminal organization, time for it to die. He tweeted that out and then bragged about putting it in the wood chipper the very next weekend. But what evidence has there been of USAID being anything about a criminal organization? Nothing. The tweet stands alone. Let's continue. But we understand that they were investigating his Starlink in Ukraine. Could that be it? Is that why they're criminal? I don't know.
For it to die. What Musk never mentioned anywhere was that USAID's Inspector General was in the process of investigating its own public-private partnership between Musk's Starlink and the Ukrainian government at the time that the billionaire's Doge crippled the agency. That investigation was launched with a public announcement last year. Its status now unknown.
Okay. So let's not forget that a lot of inspector generals were fired at the dead of night. I think it was between 12 and 18, and whose job is to do things like this, investigate and oversee. Let me go back a little bit.
Agency. That investigation was launched with a public announcement last year. Its status now unknown, but I think you can take a guess if it will continue. Those Starlink consoles were just a fraction of the business that Musk companies do with the federal government. Over the past decade, just two of his companies, Tesla and SpaceX, have won more than $15 billion in contracts, according to the New York Times. Not chump change.
$15 billion in contracts. But Medicare and what did he said? Medicare and something else was where all the fraud was. But he has won $15 billion in contracts. Where did he say all the fraud was? Somewhere. Wherever. I think he said in Medicare. Yeah, this is where the big money fraud is happening. Doge, a search Medicare agency. So he said that the big money fraud was in Medicare, which give helps to people who are poor and broke. He said this is where the big money fraud is happening, as he has been awarded 15 dollars in government contractors. I told you he is the biggest welfare queen in the United States, and he is not even a United States citizen, allegedly. Let me see. Let me give you this link. Here you go. Hey, Brick Girl Haley. One of the guys he took with him was a runner-up in Musk Hackathon. Yes, I've already discussed that, Z Sarah. One of the guys he met at a hacking event that he had, and this is one of the people who, I already talked. Who is one of the people who is with him, going through all of these agencies and going straight for their computers. You said Keimer. I think you mean Comer. Yeah, he is a weak leader. And Ron Johnson, who is the House Speaker, is equally as weak. MAGA meritocracy will favor him if he's ignorant. Okay, so those are the things that I wanted to share with you guys on today. Let me see. So I wonder, Now put all the president's men. What is this? What did I want to show you about this? I'm gonna drop a couple of more links in here that you may want to peruse. Here you go. Let me see what else I got. Let me see. Let me see. I'm going to drop this article about the USAID investigation into Musk. Here is that link to that article. Here that link is, if you want to read that article. Now, let me see. Okay, here we go. Now we have I think she's an Obama judge. I can't remember if she's an Obama judge, but there is a court case right now that a federal judge may be taking action against Musk having unfettered access to all of the things that he's been allowed to go into and infiltrate.
Random unelected bureaucrats with no oversight having access to all of our private secure information, including social security numbers. I'm going to put a tweet up here on the screen from Kyle Cheney from Politico. Judge Kolar Kotelly seems prepared to block Musk's 2 Doge allies detailed to Treasury from sharing any Treasury records with Musk or others outside the department. She wants a filing from DOJ by tonight to see if the government will agree to that plan. So can you give an overview of what we're looking at right now and whether this ruling, even against Doge, will actually be successful at stopping him from doing whatever he wants to do? And he hasn't seemed to be prevented from, nothing has seemed to prevent him from doing what he wants in the past.
Yeah, so this is a very important lawsuit brought by a number of labor unions, as you say, trying to protect the privacy rights of individuals and others who are in these databases, these massive databases in the federal government, this one in the Treasury Department. And, Brian, you and I, talk occasionally off air, and, you once said to me that you're getting flooded with people who are worried that their information is being accessed. And so are we at Democracy Docket. And I understand why, right? I mean, tens of millions, hundreds of millions of Americans count on the federal government in one form or another to send them either social security checks or disability checks. And they're in this database. I mean, all of us, frankly, are in this database, and they're concerned. What does it mean that not unelected bureaucrats, but really, cronies? I mean, these are people, some of whom apparently are barely out of high school, who, are rummaging around these big databases. And we are to assume that they both have good intentions, but also, Brian, that they know what they're doing, that they don't inadvertently, share this information or corrupt this data in a way that means people don't get their money, or that there's, a security risk to people having access to it. So this lawsuit was filed, very important lawsuit. We're seeing a lot of really important litigation being filed. So kudos here to this one, saying, look, this is a real problem. And the Judge Kolar Kotelly, I've appeared before her. She's a very serious and thoughtful judge. I think she was appointed by President Obama, if I recall. She is raising the right question, which is, what is the access that has been granted, and who is it shared with? And she is focused in on this particular court order on that second question, which is, all right, so you got these people detailed to the Treasury Department. Like that's like still put a footnote in that we ought to at some point, when crisis is averted, we ought to come back to that. But all right, but where does it get shared? And there is no reason, if they are detailed to the Department of Treasury, it should leave the Department of Treasury. And so the question will be, what will the federal government do? What will the Department of Justice do? And my prediction is they are going to hedge. They're going to hedge, because this goes to your point, Brian. Why does it feel like, Donald Trump and issued these illegal executive orders? You have Musk doing all this stuff, and it feels like a game of cat and mouse. Judge says no, and then they kind of like take it in a slightly different direction. Yet it doesn't.
Exactly. The judge told them no in DC, and then they just take it in a direction where they just go into the agencies and download all of their payment method of payment, and then say, well, we're going to cut out the waste because they're just cutting checks in the Treasury, and we can cut out waste here because that's what we're here for. That's a go around of the court order of freezing federal funds. So yeah, I drop you that link. So that's all I have for you guys today. Let me end with this. Please please put a like in the chat if you enjoyed the chat. If you learned something, thank you guys for participating. Thank you for the fans for coming in and being mad that you're stupid and I'm not, and thinking I give a fuck about dumb shit. Thank you. So let me see. I want to end with this. And hit the like button on your way out. I'm just going to let this play for a little while on my way out. And that's all I have.
Not have heard of him, and much as you have heard of the nominee for the Secretary of Defense, Mr. Hegseth. You may not have heard about him the same way you've heard about Tulsi Gabbard.
This is the filibuster.
To Syria without the permission of the State Department to consult with the dictator. But this man, who is the chief engineer of the Trump train, a train that plans to disregard the law and the Constitution.
This is the filibuster. So I'm going to let this play. I'm going to tell you bye. I'm just going to let this play. And these are some of the things that they were talking about Russell Vought in the filibuster last night. Thank you guys for being here. Hope you guys have a great day. And I'll see y'all on the YouTube streets. All right. Bye-bye.
Constitution. That is a bigger danger to our republic. And that is why Democrats are taking the floor now. And will continue to hold the floor over the every minute allowed under our rules to say this is a mistake. Colleagues across the aisle, you too took an oath to the Constitution. You have a responsibility to defend it. And the only way to defend it at the end of this 30 hours is to vote no on Russell Vought. The American people are watching us today. And I know that they are feeling rage about what Trump and Vought are doing. I know this because this last weekend, I had 5 town halls in Oregon. And we had 3 to 8 times the number of people who turned out a year ago, which was an election year, which has a bigger turnout than a normal year. And they wondered about how is it possible to break the law in firing inspector generals? How is it possible to break the law in firing a member of the National Labor Relations Board in the middle of an 8-year term when the law doesn't allow you to do that? How is it possible to break the law and proceed to dismantle USAID when the law doesn't allow you to dismantle an organization? Yes, the president can ask Congress to write a new law, but to do it through executive fiat, no, the Constitution does not allow that. And the impoundment of funds people asked about. It's very clear since the time of Nixon, when Nixon impounded funds, and Congress then stood together and said, hell no, you cannot do that. And the courts said, hell no, you cannot do that. And then Nixon followed the issue as the court decided. But Mr. Russell Vought, He doesn't care, he said. He says, the president doesn't agree that this should be the interpretation of the Constitution, and I don't agree, so we're just going to impound funds as we want. That is a dangerous man to our republic. So I encourage citizens across this country, it is your opportunity to be heard, as you were this weekend at my town halls. Take to the streets, take to the phones, let your message amplify and ring from the eastern coast to the western coast and the southern to the northern border with Canada. Let your message ring that true patriots will stand with the Constitution of the United States of America. True patriots will defend the separation of powers. True patriots will defend the checks and balances inherent in our Constitution. Well, just know, we stand with you, America, and we are fighting back. From the outside and the inside, patriots together, patriots united, defending our Constitution against this sweeping authoritarian coup. That's what we are doing. Now, I know you hear the word coup and you think, isn't it a coup when a military comes in and takes over in violation of the Constitution? There's also a quieter kind of coup when the president refuses to follow the laws of the Constitution. That's a coup as well, and that's what we are facing now. And that's why every member of this body should be standing up to say no to the architect of this coup, Russell Vought. What we have now in President Trump is government by billionaires for billionaires. Our fight is to say that is not the vision of our Constitution. Our vision of the Constitution, our we the people Constitution, is to have, as Abraham Lincoln said, government of the people, by the people, and for the people. That's a very different vision, the vision embedded in our Constitution, than the vision being pursued by the president at this moment. So you will hear from many members of the Democratic caucus over the next 30 hours. And we ask to our colleagues, listen to what is said. Don't mindlessly follow the dictates of an authoritarian president trying to violate the Constitution, because that's not your responsibility. And recognize that what he is doing is trying to take away the legislative power of the House and Senate and replace it with executive fiats. Wasn't it strange to listen to an inaugural speech in which President Trump didn't talk about legislative initiatives? Just one executive order after the other? The message was clear. He was telling America, I'm not going to be a president who executes the laws. I'm going to be a president who overrides the laws with executive orders. Just within hours, mere hours of taking the oath to the Constitution, he put forward an executive order that violated the 14th Amendment on birthright citizenship. Just days after taking the oath to the Constitution, he put forward a strategy of impoundment that violates the core of the Constitution, where the power of the purse is given to Congress, not to the president. So here we are, going forward. We are in dangerous times for our nation. We are in the midst of this unfolding authoritarian coup, and we have the responsibility to stop it. Now, it's hard to focus on any one thing. The expression I've heard almost hourly is the president is, quote, flooding the zone, unquote, meaning he's doing so many things at once, so many executive orders, that it just creates, well, confusion and chaos. And it makes it hard to focus on any one action that is so diabolical that normally all of us would be focused on it and saying no. So this strategy is an effective one. But that is why we are taking the next 30 hours to not focus on 100 things, but one thing: the danger Russell Vought presents to our Constitution, and our responsibility in advice and consent under the Constitution to vet that candidate, realize who he is, and say he is not fit to be the director of OMB, the Office of Management and the Budget. In fact, he's not fit to serve in any governmental capacity. It was quite troubling to experience Donald Trump's dead of night directive a week ago, Monday night, to cut off funding for programs that families depend on, programs to feed children, programs to pay rent, programs to see the doctor, cutoffs that are cruel and indiscriminate and illegal because the president has a responsibility to execute the laws, not ignore them or violate them. We saw so much happen in terms of disrespecting or breaking the law. The inspectors general, 17 and counting. These are the watchdogs who say to the executive branch, you must obey the law. So if you want to see what an authoritarian president seeking an imperial presidency where he can write the laws through fiats does, one of the first things you do is you tear down the watchdogs. And that's what he did. The watchdog for the Department of Labor, the watchdog for Interior, the watchdog for Housing and Urban Development, the watchdog for the Defense Department, the watchdog for the State Department, the watchdog for Agriculture, the watchdog for Health and Human Services, the watchdog for the Department of Education, all fired in violation of the law. The law does give the president the ability to dismiss an inspector general under two conditions. First condition, 30-day notice. Second condition is that it be for cause. Both were broken. Why is no member of the president's party standing up on the floor of the Senate and saying, respect the law, Mr. President? That's an obligation we all share. It isn't the responsibility of the minority party to say, defend the Constitution alone. It's the responsibility of the majority party as well, every individual member here in the Senate. And then we had the president fire a member of the National Labor Relations Board. But the law says you can't do that. They have a term. You get to put and nominate a new person at the end of the term. But he was fired anyway. Why? Because it's part of the attack on families and the ability to enforce labor protections this president opposes. He wants to give free rein to corporations to run over labor provisions embedded in the law. If there's no one to appeal to, then there's no constraint on the abuses put onto working people. That's what we're facing. And the president fired the head of the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau. I can tell you, protection of consumers through terrible financial products is incredibly important. You know, when I was elected to the Senate, we had two types of loans that were predatory mortgage loans that were turning the dream of homeownership into the nightmare. One was called the triple option loan. And what that meant was that you could pay a smaller amount and the amount of all you owed on your house would actually escalate over time. And then when you got to a certain point of escalation, then the loan would switch and you would have to pay a different amount that many people couldn't afford. And so it resulted in a lot of foreclosures. And then we had another type of home mortgage with an exploding interest rate. You get a subsidized interest rate for a couple years, and then the interest rate explodes to 9 or 10%, and people couldn't make those payments. Now, they had been steered into those loans by mortgage brokers who were getting kickbacks undisclosed to the person taking out the loan. They were being betrayed by kickbacks called steering payments. And so that is the type of thing that hurt America terribly, because the foreclosures then were a key factor driving the collapse of the economy in 2007, 2008, into 2009. Hundreds of thousands, millions of homes foreclosed on, all because there wasn't a Consumer Financial Protection Bureau to say those loans are not okay. I was very pleased to lead the charge in Dodd-Frank to end those predatory loans. But ongoing protection against scurrilous, scandalous scams, you need a watchdog for the consumer. The president, favoring billionaires and corporations over the American workers, proceeded to fire the watchdog that protects us against scandalous scams in financial products. And then the president fired members of the FBI, experts who were focused on making sure the executive branch stays within the confines of the law. Well, if you don't want the FBI checking out the fact that you're breaking the law, you fire them. So there's no one there to hold you accountable or do a report. This is the acts of a president determined to rule by fiat and break the laws and break the Constitution. And then Donald Trump gave Elon Musk unprecedented and unacceptable access to the US Treasury's most sensitive payment systems. Those payment systems control over $5 trillion a year in payments. Those payment systems has everyone's private information. Do you like the fact that Elon Musk and his team of muskrats with their laptops have been in there downloading information on you? Don't you kind of worry about the type of big brother government that downloads your private information and sends in inexperienced people to take over the payments and take your private information, where you live, how much you earn, your tax returns, whether you get Medicare, whether you get Social Security, your Social Security numbers, everything within that world. That's a massive assault on the privacy of American citizens by a big brother government, the type of government that wants to be an authoritarian presidency and control everything and have power over everything. And so they invade the Treasury and the system of payments. Not only is it a huge risk to our privacy of Americans across this land, but it also is an invitation to exploitation. It's an invitation to extortion, because now big brother government in the form of Mr. Trump and Elon Musk and his muskrats have your information they can use against you, should they so please. And finally, there is a danger that this crew that invaded Treasury alters the codes and screws up the payments. Maybe they don't intend to, but they do because they don't know what they're doing. They're not experts on the code. And suddenly the Medicare or Social Security payments or tax returns don't go out the way they're supposed to. You know, and a whole lot of Americans aren't like billionaire Trump and his band of billionaire bros. They're living paycheck to paycheck. So screwing up a single payment can put a family in a world of hurt, including missing a rent payment that gets them thrown out of their house. So that's not the only way that Team Trump is attacking ordinary families. There's also the big sales tax that he wants to impose across the nation in the form of tariffs. Now, Mr. Trump says, it'll be the foreign companies that pay for tariffs. Well, just factually, it's wrong. The importer pays the tariff bill, not the group that exports to the United States, but the American company that imports pays the tariff. And then, in order to pay the tariff, they raise their prices. And so it becomes a sales tax on the American people. So a 25% tariff on Mexico or Canada becomes a 25% tax, more or less, on work in America. You know, President Trump posted on Truth Social that tariffs should never have been ended in favor of the income tax system. Just recognize this. Tariffs that result in higher prices on Americans are incredibly regressive. They have a much bigger impact on those who are less well off, who have to buy food and groceries. And unlike a sales tax that has an exemption for health care or food or groceries, there's no exemption from the higher prices driven by a tariff. So they're incredibly regressive. The tariffs are a strategy to attack working families across this land. Well, Trump was very clear. He said, basically, we should go back to the old system of funding our government by tariffs, the system we had before 1913, when America ratified the 16th Amendment that allowed the income tax. In other words, he wants to go from a tax system on income that can, if implemented carefully, and often it is not, and has way too many loopholes, it can be progressive. That is, the rich who can afford to pay more can pay a higher percent. But the tariffs converted into a sales tax on Americans, that is, in fact, incredibly regressive, hurting the poor. It's why rich folks always want to have a sales tax replace an income tax, because they know they pay less, the rich pay less, and the working stiffs have to pay more because their paycheck has to go directly to consumption, because that's what they have, paycheck to paycheck. Got to pay the rent, got to pay the food, got to pay the utility bill. But the well-off, they're taking their extra funds, they're investing, so they don't have to spend every dime on consumption. That's the mechanics of how a tariff becomes a regressive sales tax. Let's be crystal clear about what is happening. There's a three-part plan in Project 2025. Again, the architect of which is up for confirmation right now for the question of advice and consent by the Senate. So the architect of Project 2025 has a three-step plan. Attack working families. That's step one. That's what happens when you cut the programs for healthcare and housing and education and children. You attack the families. Step two, borrow trillions from the Treasury and run up the debt, currently estimated to be in the area of about $3 trillion. Then take and deliver a massive tax giveaway to the billionaires. That's the plan. Attack families, borrow trillions, give away trillions to the billionaires. In fact, the current estimate for the amount given to the trillionaires is around 4.6 trillion. or to the billionaires and mega millionaires, to the richest Americans, 4.6 trillion. Kind of ironic, isn't it, that a president who campaigned on helping families is actually driving a plan in partnership with Russell Vought to attack families and deliver for the billionaires. Campaign on government for families, get elected, and immediately pivot to attacking families and delivering for billionaires. That's what we're facing. This is the great betrayal, a betrayal of all the voters who believed Donald Trump when he said, "I'm for you," who believed when he said he wants to protect and help working families, and yet he attacks the ability of workers to organize and get a fair day's pay for an honest day's work. That's the great betrayal. The architect of this is up for confirmation right now. The architect for this is advocating for the president to violate the laws and has already demonstrated that this last 2 weeks. The architect of this is arguing that we cut programs, run up the debt, and give it all to the richest Americans. That's the plan. So over the next 30 hours, Democrats are coming to the floor, united, determined to stand with the families of the United States of America. Mr. Trump standing with the billionaires. My colleagues who have indicated they want to confirm Russell Vought, confirm the architect of Project 2025, confirm the person who inspired the attacks on family programs a week ago, Monday night. They're standing with the billionaires. I invite them, come join us. Do not stand for government by and for billionaires. Come join us and fight for families. Come join us and honor the responsibility of the executive branch to obey the laws. Come join us and protect the constitutional separation of powers. After all, the president's effort to move the power of the purse from Congress, the power of Congress to say, here are the instructions. We want you to fund this program and this program and this program. And the president wants to say, it doesn't matter, those are just suggestions. I have news for you. Read the Constitution. The president is not a king, and a law is not a suggestion. So come join us, united in support of the law and the Constitution. Russell Vought is a leading proponent of the impoundment theory that says the president can decide how much to spend on programs that Congress has written into the law. In other words, that the appropriation bills are simply suggestions, not the law. No, we had this conversation back in the Nixon era. Remember President Nixon, along with Watergate? Remember that other unconstitutional thing he did? That was to say, I, as president, can stop the funding of programs that the law says I'm supposed to fund. Well, the court said otherwise. It said, in fact, no way. That's unconstitutional. And then Congress said in 1974, in the Budget and Impoundment Control Act, Congress said, hey, Mr. President, we will give you a mechanism by which you can present the idea of changing current law. You don't think we need to spend money on, say, that weapon program because the technology is outdated? Or maybe you don't need to spend money on some feeding program because it's duplicative of another feeding program or food program. You don't need to spend money on X, Y, or Z. Maybe a nuclear warhead was being rebuilt to be on a certain missile, but we're not building the missile anymore. So the president could proceed to say, here is a letter that comes to Congress saying, I know these are in the law, I know I have to fund them, but we shouldn't fund them. So please, over the next 45 days, debate and vote on changing the current law so that we save this money. It's called a rescission. It's in the 1974 Budget and Impoundment Control Act. We gave the president a tool by which he could follow the Constitution and ask for reductions in programs already passed into law. Now, I'm quite sure that not a single senator here, not a single senator wandering around the Capitol somewhere has received a rescission letter from President Trump, or one on behalf of President Trump from the Office of Management and Budget. If you want to cut programs that have already in the law, there's a mechanism to do it lawfully. You ask Congress to do so in a letter for a rescission. Fancy word, we don't talk about it much. Presidents don't very often ask us to undo programs we've just passed because we budget on an annual basis. We pass those laws on an annual basis. So they aren't rarely so out of date. They are rarely so out of date that a president says, okay, undo that program. But they have the power to do so because we gave the president the ability to ask in the 1974 Budget and Impoundment Control Act. And by the way, the lower court decisions that preceded that 1974 law, those were then reviewed and made it to the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court said, absolutely, the president cannot impound funds. It's a violation of the Constitution. So to my colleagues, you're saying, well, I don't know if Senator Merkley from Oregon is right about this. Read the Supreme Court case, and you have a responsibility to defend the Constitution. And that's why you have a responsibility to vote no on Russell Vought, who wants to violate the Constitution. Another piece that I'm concerned about with Mr. Vought is that he didn't wait to be confirmed to start being essentially the shadow director of the Office of Management and Budget. You know, I can't count how many nominees have come through and said, well, actually, I can't go near that office until I'm confirmed, because that would be a violation of the intent of the Constitution that people have to be confirmed before they take a role. But what did we hear from the White House after all those illegal executive orders were put out? Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt said, Russell Vought told me to tell all of you the line to his office is open. So here's Mr. Vought basically saying, I'm really the power already at OMB. My line's open. Call me. Well, Mr. Vought, if you would quit breaking the law and advocating for breaking the law, you would know you shouldn't be in the Office of Management and Budget essentially acting as if you have been confirmed when you haven't been confirmed yet. Again, it's a confirmation of the inclination of this individual to say the laws don't matter. I will do what I want, no matter how much damage it does to the law or the Constitution. So we did send a letter saying to Mr. Vought, are you on the payroll currently? Do you have a title? Have you been hired as a senior assistant? Is that legal, given you're up for nomination to run the place? Is it legal for you to be hired as an advisor and then act as if you are running the place? Is that legal? We didn't get any answers. Another reason to vote no, the file is not complete. He hasn't answered. Why does he not want to answer? Because you wouldn't like the answer. The American people wouldn't like the answer, that he is over there running OMB at a time he hasn't even been confirmed by the Senate. So he doesn't answer. That too should bother colleagues on both sides of the aisle. Because we didn't have answers, the Democrats on the Budget Committee wrote to the chair of the Budget Committee and said, delay this vote. Delay it for 2 weeks so we can get answers to questions and get a complete file. Well, that's a reasonable request in this situation, because both sides of the aisle have often worked together to say nominees have to complete their paperwork. They have to answer the questions raised by the committee. But we were told no. This position is so urgent. The president so desperately needs the architect of Project 2025 to be the engineer on the train that we can't actually wait and get answers and have the file completed. I certainly disagree with that answer. I think it disrespects the entire membership of the Budget Committee. And then the vote in committee was scheduled without the file complete, and it was scheduled to be done in a little room off the floor over here where the public cannot attend and where members would not be allowed to talk to each other and share their observations or concerns, which basically violates the whole premise of members on a committee sharing their observations to try to get to a better answer. Now, I was told that as a ranking Democrat, I could make a few comments, but the rest of my committee, all the Democrats, or even the other members of the Republican side were told they couldn't make any comments or attempt to influence each other. So we said, no, that's not right. This is such an important nomination. And his background is so troubling, and his current actions are so troubling. Hold that conversation about the vote in a public forum. Just that morning, we'd held just such a public conversation on the ambassador of the United Nations in the Foreign Relations room. Each member was asked, do you want to add anything as we consider whether or not to send this nomination to the floor? Well, the ambassador of the United Nations is a pretty important role. But you know, the chief engineer of the Office of Management and Budget, the architect of this entire strategy that Trump is laying out, that's very important as well. So we asked for a public hearing or discussion so that members could talk to each other, share their concerns, maybe persuade each other, though not often enough we listen to each other. And the result was from the chair of the Budget Committee, no, we're not holding a public dialogue about whether people think he should be confirmed. So the vote was held, tiny room. I think one reporter was allowed in. No public was allowed in. No expanded press corps, no dialogue between the members. We asked a reasonable request that this be done publicly, and that was denied. I'm sorry to the American public that you were excluded, because you would have heard then what you're hearing from me now, and you'll hear from members of the Democrats over the next 30 hours, how fabulously unfit this individual is to serve in any government role. So we're here tonight, on through now, through the night, into the morning. We're here for the next 30 hours to raise the alarm about how dangerously unfit this nominee is to serve in the role of chief engineer, because he doesn't respect the law, he doesn't respect the Constitution. He's already demonstrated that by stepping into the role and coordinating the dark of night decisions to cut programs to working families all across this land. Now, I'd say, does he really believe in this whole impoundment thing? Is he really an advocate of breaking the law in fashion? Yes, well, we saw it a week ago Monday night, but we also saw it during the first Trump administration, when Russell Vought was the architect of impoundment of the funds destined by law to go to Ukraine. So this isn't some empty theory. It's already in the historical record. Russell Vought coordinated a strategy of refusing to send the funds required by law to go to Ukraine. Now, there was another element of this, which was President Trump during his first term was trying to use those funds and the impoundment of those funds to get the president of Ukraine to say bad things about a member of the Biden family. That combination of impoundment, which was illegal, and then essentially using that to extort a statement from the president of Ukraine, which the president of Ukraine refused to do, led to Trump's first impeachment trial. So Russell Vaught's illegal, unconstitutional strategy of impoundment and using it as a tool of extortion to try to attack a political opponent led to Trump's first impeachment and first trial here in the Senate. So have no doubt that the man who advocated for impoundment and the extortion of a statement from the president of Ukraine back in the first Trump administration is certainly very honest when he says he's still for impoundment right now. And that's the one thing I will say. He didn't try to disguise this fact. He said the president doesn't like what the Supreme Court decided on the Constitution. I don't like, so we're going to ignore it. He ignored it before. He intends to ignore it again. I'll tell you something else that I think is deeply disturbing, and that is Russell Vaught's absolute disdain for the nonpartisan professionals who work for the American people as civil servants. He wants to take folks who are members of the civil service and make them at-will employees of the president. So the president can sweep out of position tens of thousands, fire tens of thousands of servants of the American people who use their professional skills to deliver services as efficiently and effectively as possible and replace them with loyalist lackeys. I don't want a loyalist lackey in the control tower deciding when planes land. I want a nonpartisan professional. I don't want a loyalist lackey having access to the Treasury payment system and trying to use that to extort favors from people around the country, or disclosing the private information of individuals, or accidentally screwing up the computer code and causing payments not to be delivered effectively. I want a nonpartisan professional. I don't want a loyalist lackey deciding on how to transport vaccines across the country who doesn't know a damn thing about whether they have to be refrigerated or not, or how long they can sit on the shelf, or how to get them effectively delivered. I want a nonpartisan professional, but not Russell Vought. In fact, Russell Vought called for federal workers to be traumatized so that they would consider themselves to be villains and would leave public service and could be replaced by loyalist lackeys. That should concern everyone. And listen, I understand the pressure my colleagues are under. We all become, as part of our party, essentially part of a team, and the inclination is to support the member of your team who is now president. But there is a higher responsibility here. It's a responsibility to the law. And it's a responsibility to the Constitution that you took an oath to. And certainly supporting the firing of tens of thousands of nonpartisan professionals and replacing them with loyalist lackeys is a huge disservice to the families of America who depend upon all of those core programs in healthcare, housing, education, programs for children, standing on their feet so they can thrive and move into the middle class. It's part of the attack on families embedded in Trump and Russell Vaught's Project 2025. I'll tell you what else I don't like about Russell Vought. He wants to weaponize the justice system to prosecute officials who investigated President Trump's crime. Weaponizing the justice system is absolutely wrong. That's what happens in third world countries with dictators. And I realize as an advocate of the imperial presidency, Vought wants to use every tool available like a dictator does. But that is wrong. We are a republic. We are not a monarchy. We are not an authoritarian state unless we become one by refusing to stand up against violations of laws in the Constitution. You know, Ben Franklin, when he was leaving the Constitutional Convention, he was asked by a bystander, because they had met and worked on this crafting of the Constitution. He was asked, Ben Franklin, what do we have? What type of government do we have? And he responded, a republic, if we can keep it. But what are the fundamental elements of a republic? The integrity of the voting booth is one, the ballot box, the integrity of an election. And that integrity is under assault across this country. Second, the peaceful transfer of power. And President Trump, at the end of his first term, did everything possible, including incentivizing a riot that stormed through these doors and took over this chamber to prevent the peaceful transfer of power. They were calling for the vice president, who was fulfilling his constitutional role, just down the hallway, through those doors, down the hallway, to count the electoral votes. They were calling for him to be hung. What else is critical to a republic? Well, it's the foundation of laws that will be respected by the executive branch. That's being violated. And it's the separation of powers that Trump is violating right now. So every piece of our republic is under attack by Russell Vought and Donald Trump. Ben Franklin, right now, is turning over in his grave, fearing, perhaps for the first time since he was buried 6 feet under, that we might lose our republic. Russell Vought also supports the use of the military to quell domestic unrest. That is an absolute violation of the law, but he supports doing it. Russell Vought has called for an end to any drugs that provide medical abortions. He wants them banned. He wants to interfere with the right of every family, every woman in America to exercise her judgment in partnership with her spiritual advisor and her family and her doctor. He wants Big Brother government to be in the exam room of every woman in America, dictating whether or not they can use drugs as part of an abortion process. And he also doubles down on this, saying there should be no exceptions to a law banning abortions for rape or for incest or to save the life of the mother. You know, I was absolutely struck by the recent memo from the new Secretary of Transportation that said, we are going to prioritize giving our grants to communities that have the highest birth rate and highest marriage rate. What? Big Brother socially programming using transportation grants to determine who gets to repair their bridges or repair their roads or expand their metro system or build bike lanes or whatever, depending on your marriage rate and your childbirth rate? That's in the memo from the Department of Transportation. Well, here's Russell Vought. His social programming is he wants his view of reproductive health care to be imposed across America with Big Brother, big government in the exam room of every American woman. That's who this man is. Those are his dangerous views. Presidents are not kings. Laws are not suggestions unless Russell Vought is confirmed and makes it so. If he is confirmed and makes it so, we have failed to defend our democracy. We have failed to defend our republic. We were elected by our citizens of our respective states to be here with the vision of government by and for the people, not the vision of government by billionaires for billionaires, not the vision of big brother government going into our living rooms and into our exam rooms telling us to have children in order to get a transportation grant. But that's the type of social programming we are facing. To my colleagues across the aisle, you all have pointed out quite accurately that you are threatened with a primary funded by Elon Musk if you don't loyally follow, step by step, move by move, everything Trump wants to do, including confirming Russell Vought. I say to you, stop trembling in your boots. You are being threatened. You are being pressed. You are being extorted. Stand up and say, I am a senator of the United States of America. I was not elected by President Trump. I was not elected by Russell Vought. I was not elected by Elon Musk and the billionaires. I was elected by the people of my state, and I am going to fight for them. That is your responsibility. That is your path to escape the dilemma we have heard you express. I don't believe any other time in our history the President of the United States has threatened to stick the billionaires against members of the U.S. Senate. And we need to stand together and say, hell no. That's what it means to defend the Constitution. That's what it means to be a senator, this privileged position, elected by the citizens of our state in order to pursue what the people are asking us to do to build a stronger union and better opportunity for every citizen. Donald Trump and Russell Vought are trying to use their executive orders to break the spirit of the American people, to break the will of Congress, to break the back of the Constitution. Such plans are evil. And every one of us, Democrat or Republican, should say, we will not be intimidated, we will not cower, and we will not bend to fear of Donald Trump and Elon Musk. Trump may inflict his worst, but we must awaken our best. President Franklin Roosevelt said, we won't let them, quote, clip the wings of the American eagle to feather their own nests. Colleagues, stand with me, stand together, stand as senators united to stop the president from clipping the wings of the American eagle to feather the nest of the billionaires, to protect our constituents, to protect the Constitution, to oppose this sweeping authoritarian coup, to stand with American families and against the betrayal of those same families. We are coming to the floor, united, to say we must not confirm the nomination of the most unfit man to be considered as director of the Office of Management and the Budget. You all have heard me say a few words about impoundments. It's a big word, but it's a big word for a simple action. It means that the president refuses to spend the money that he's required to spend by law on a program. Oh, I don't like healthcare programs that we're doing, and the law says, here's what you must spend for this particular program in the coming year, and the president says, no, not doing it. Yeah, well, that's illegal, and it's unconstitutional. It's not up for debate. In the 1970s, President Nixon did exactly this action, impound, to stop funds for the Environmental Protection Agency for individual programs that he didn't like. He told his EPA administrator, Russell Train, to withhold the funding. A recipient of those funds was the city of New York, and the city sued. And in that case, Train versus the city of New York, the Supreme Court ruled that the White House did not have the power to impound funds and refuse to do what the law says they're supposed to do. And furthermore, the Supreme Court said this is inherent in the Constitution. The executive is to execute the laws, not to make the laws, not to remake the laws, not to ignore the laws, not to treat the laws as a suggestion. The executive must faithfully implement the laws of the United States of America. That is the responsibility. Congress, in the 1974 Budget and Impoundment Control Act, did create a way for the president to say, no, I'm not just weighing in on the budget for next year. I'm not just weighing in on what the programs I want funded next year. I want to change the ones this year. And we gave him, Congress did, a tool to do so. That's the tool of rescission that I mentioned before. Well, let's fast forward from 1974 and the battle with Nixon to 1996. 1996, there was a very interesting debate over a balanced budget amendment. And you needed 67 senators to approve in both bodies this constitutional amendment. The House easily passed it. Here in the Senate, the Republican chair of the Appropriations Committee said no. Every year, through our revenue bills and through our spending bills, appropriation bills, we decide what the deficit will be, and we can decide any year it shall be zero. But we shouldn't be so constrained to address national emergencies, whether it be a famine, whether it from drought, or whether it be war, or whether it be COVID. Of course, COVID is some disease, that we shouldn't be so constrained as to be unable to meet the moment. So Senator Hatfield from Oregon said no, he would not be the 67th vote. And then he offered to resign. And what the history books rarely record is that in Oregon, the governor does not have the power to appoint an individual to the Senate seat, which meant there would have been 99 senators, and 66 would have been enough to pass that constitutional change, and it would have gone out to the states for ratification. Well, the majority leader, Robert Dole, turned down Hatfield's offer to resign, so the 67 standard was not met. Well, then the Republican leadership said, let's give the president line item veto, essentially give the president impoundment power that the court said the president doesn't have. And so they passed a law and gave the president impoundment power, line item veto. And it went to the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court said, hey, Congress, the Constitution charges you with the responsibility to lay out what will be funded for what program. You can't simply delegate to that president. If you could have a majority in the two chambers that says, we give the power to make up any law the president wants, and then to enforce it. In other words, it would be a pathway towards an authoritarian takeover of our country if Congress abandoned its constitutional role to set the parameters for what programs are funded. And so the Supreme Court struck it down. Well, and here we have, again, Russell Vought ignoring the Supreme Court in Train versus the City of New York, ignoring the Supreme Court when it struck down the line item veto, and once again threatening to so undermine the law and the Constitution. Colleagues, my fellow caucus members will be coming through the night to share their perspectives and why Russell Vought is untrustworthy, unelected, and unfit to serve as a director of office in the management. I believe that my colleague from Hawaii is going to carry the train of this conversation forward, and therefore, I am wrapping up my comments while he figures out some issue at the counter. But I want you to all go forward into this long 30 hours knowing just a core fact, that we only have a republic if we can keep it, and we can't keep it if we put a man at the head of OMB who is determined to break the law and violate the Constitution. I yield to my colleague from Hawaii.
Mr. President.
The senator from Hawaii.
Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you to the ranking member of the Budget Committee for his leadership. We're doing something a little unusual. First of all, every Democrat is united on the vote that will occur 26 or 27 hours from now. Second of all, almost every United States senator on the Democratic side is going to come to this floor to articulate why we are united.